Bring the meeting to order. Welcome to the Planning Board meeting for Monday, March 23rd. Let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Jessica, could you do our adequate notice statement?
In accordance with New Jersey Statute 10:4-10, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the newspapers of record and has been posted here in City Hall. For the benefit of the interested public, this meeting is being live-streamed to the city's YouTube page and also broadcast on Summit's government channel, which is Comcast Channel 34 and Verizon Channel 30. Any hearings on applications for development in this meeting are quasi-judicial proceedings. Any questions or comments must be limited to the issues that are relevant to what the board may legally consider in reaching a decision, and decorum appropriate to a judicial hearing must be maintained at all times. Please note that fire exits are to my right, your left, and at the back of the room where you entered. The city has a listening system to assist the hearing impaired. If anyone needs hearing assistance, please obtain the necessary equipment here at the dais and return it immediately after our meeting.
Thank you. So we're going to change our agenda for the resolution of extension for 4 Parkview Terrace. Bart Sheehan would like to come up. Nice to see you, Mr. Sheehan. Oh, I always forget the roll call. We're here. Okay. Go ahead. I'm so sorry.
Chair Balsan Alvarez.
Here.
Vice Chair Hamlet is excused. Ms. Bowen. Here. Councilmember Crisafulli.
Here.
Mr. Dalmasso.
Here.
Mr. Fellman is excused. Ms. Morrison.
Here.
Mr. Sala.
Here.
Mr. Stern.
Here.
Mr. Staunton is excused. Mr. Golden.
Here.
You have a quorum. You may proceed.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
Madam Chair, thank you for the calendar preference. I deeply appreciate it.
You're
They
welcome.
let me out of the corral just this once to participate in the privilege of appearing before this board, a privilege too long deferred over these last several years. This is an application that seeks a 120-day extension of the condition imposed by the board the last time this application appeared before it, granting approval for a subdivision for block 4707 and this particular lot, 2301, requiring construction to begin within 2 years. There are certain extenuating circumstances underlying this request, including the time that it took to discharge all of the other conditions with respect to site improvements, deed recording, subdivision perfection, and the required stormwater management easement, as well as familial complexities of a nature that we don't have to go into this evening.
Okay.
So I would submit it to the board's favorable application and answer any questions that anybody might have.
Do any of the board members have questions? Do any of our professionals have questions?
No, the only thing I would comment on, typically on an extension, the real issue is whether there's been a change in zoning. Since the approval, there has not been, so you can proceed.
Okay.
And if I may add, from a legal perspective, the MLUL affords up to 3 one-year extensions. This is the first request, and it is for if I'm doing the math correct, about a third of a year, 120 days.
Yes.
Right.
So to give the board some context.
Thank you. So do we have to, can we do we have to do roll call?
I
or-
have a resolution already in anticipation of a possible grant of the extension, so all you need to do is a motion, second roll call vote to adopt the resolution, if indeed you're granting the extension.
Okay. Do we have a motion to extend?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Now,
Ms. Bowen. Yes. Councilmember Crisafulli.
Yes.
Mr. Dalmasso.
Yes.
Ms. Morrison.
Yes.
Mr. Sala.
Yes.
Mr. Stern.
Yes.
Mr. Golden.
Yes.
Chair Balsan Alvarez.
yes.
Thank you very much,
Nice
Madam
to
Chair,
see you.
members of the board.
Okay. So back to our agenda. We have the adoption of the bylaws. Mr. Stern?
Yeah.
Oh, just two quick things. In Rule 2-22, it says that the rule states once a quorum of the board is present, which at least 4, and then in parentheses says 5 members. I think it should be 5 and 5.
Right.
Should be 5, bear with me.
Yeah.
2:2-2.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go, 5, yep.
Yep.
And then in 2:3-1, it references the township of Summit. It should be the city of Summit.
Absolutely.
That's all I got.
There's township,
Yep.
okay, yep.
Yep. Thank
Got
you.
it.
Does anybody else have any changes or suggestions for the bylaws?
And if I may, Madam Chair, I did review same as I do every year, other than those 2 typos. There's nothing in the content that needs to change. These bylaws remain consistent with, and frankly, to a large degree, are dictated by the municipal land use law.
Yep.
So just want to put that on the record.
Thank you. Thank you. So we can adopt these now. Can we
Same-
just do a,
A
no?
motion second and a voice vote will do it.
Do we have a motion?
You could do a voice
Thank
vote.
you.
Second.
All right.
And an all in favor will do it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, I love that. I like the all in favor. Okay.
Now, we'll do them wherever we can.
Yes, okay. So, committee liaison appointments. So, these are the suggested subcommittees and liaisons for the various commissions and committees and subcommittees. And I'm just going to list them out, and we can discuss, ask questions, whatever. For the Mount Laurel Committee, Delia Hamlet would continue on that subcommittee. She's been on it for quite a while, knows a lot about it, and is willing to serve. She's not here today. She had to be excused. The Master Plan Subcommittee would be Susan Bowen, Paul Stern, and me. The Historic Preservation Commission liaison would be Bonnie Morrison. Environmental Commission, PJ Sala. Parkline, Ryan Felmett. Ryan's not here. Okay, yeah. And Shade Tree is John Staunton, who did agree to do that. So, does anybody have anything to share or discuss about this, or are we all good? Okay, looks like everybody's happy. Do we have to do the same thing?
These are mayoral appointments, so technically you don't even have to do the motion
Yay.
second and voice vote.
Good. So we are all set, and everybody has to go to your respective meetings and report back to us. And we will expect that. All right. Moving on, now we're up to applications. So, the first application is 791-795 Old Springfield Avenue. And welcome.
Yeah. Madam Chair, we do have a recusal. Our Class 2 member, Mr. Del Maso, will be recusing
Oh,
himself
okay.
from this matter. Would you be coming back for the next one, Darren?
Yes, I will be back for the next matter.
Okay,
Okay.
great. And we still have 7, more than a sufficient quorum.
Yeah.
And while Mr. Weber's getting all set up, with the chair's permission, I'll put on the record that we did review the notice originally for the last meeting, and the content was sufficient and timely served, and the matter was carried without further notice to this evening.
Yep.
So board continues to have jurisdiction with respect to this matter, and that's
Property.
all the time that I can buy for Mr. Weber, so he's going to have to get ready very quickly.
Good evening, Madam Chairwoman, members of the board. James Weber, on behalf of the applicant, Carolyn and Adele Botros, with regard to property located at 791, 795 Old Springfield Avenue, which was the site of the Corcoran West Summit Garage at one point, and has fallen into somewhat disrepair over the past 10 years. The Botroses are proposing to construct a 3-story mixed-use building in the NB Zone District. It's a permitted use, but there are a series of variances associated with it. The I think the lot area is around 19,000 square feet. They're proposing a 14,000 square foot building. It is consistent with the floor area ratio. It's consistent significantly with lot coverage. Lot coverage is permitted in the NB zone at 90%. They're at 49%. Building coverage is over by around 6%, and that's mainly due to the terraces that are proposed as part of the structure. So those terraces contribute around the full 1,200 square feet overage. There are then variances associated with the design of the site. For example, the lighting that is on the building is at 10 feet. Your ordinance sets it at 8 feet, but obviously in order to have it over the fenestration, you need the additional 2 feet. Likewise, there's some spillage, and by spillage, the light is set at a certain standard, and it's going over the line within that standard. So it's a well-lit area, and where it goes over is onto the parking lot of the dry cleaners to the side. The other variance is with regard to the loading space. The loading space for this 6 dwelling unit building is, it's required by ordinance, but more likely than not, that loading space would probably be devoted to people moving in or people moving out of the units. The others, and there's a 5-foot setback requirement, 2.5 feet is proposed with regard to the parking lot of the dry cleaners. To increase that 5 to 5 feet, now you're squeezing that loading space, which is already undersized. I think I've hit most of the variances. Yeah. I'm just checking for a second to see if there are any other ones. There. So the ordinance in the NB zone district sets a building size for 10,000 square feet. And what's being proposed here exceeds that 10,000, which could be met if you split the development into 2 buildings, but that would be increasing lot coverage, increasing building coverage, creating more variances, and would actually not work well, as the architect and the engineer will describe further in their testimony. The roof under your ordinance is supposed to be peaked. This is a flat roof. There will be access for the residents to be up on the roof in a controlled area. And as a result, you don't have the peaked roof, you have a flat roof in the design. And I think that now covers it. Unless the board has any questions of me, I'll call Adele Botros to the stand. Mr. Botros literally just got in at 6:30. The airlines apparently, because of the disaster at LaGuardia, have been backed up. So he is here now, coming in from Colorado. So, Mr. Botros?
And Madam Chair, with your permission, I'll swear in all the witnesses at once. So if we could have our other witnesses as well stand, raise their right hand, as well as our 2 board professionals, our planner and engineer. Do all 5 of you swear to God or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you all. Back to you, Madam Chair.
I like that efficiency.
There you go.
Good job.
Thank you.
All right.
Hello.
Hello.
My wife wanted to be here, but she couldn't be here today. We were out of town, and I got back for the hearing. So we live down the street from this property. We live at 738A Springfield Avenue, like less than a half a mile away. We've lived there for 30 years. That property has never been functional since we've lived there. It's been a closed-down gas station since 1996 when we moved to our house. When the opportunity came up for us to purchase it, I saw it, go on sale. We walk by it all the time with our dogs. I wanted to do something nice there, and here we are.
And you've retained the services of experts to assist you with this application, haven't you?
Absolutely.
And
They're
who
all
are
in this
those
room.
experts?
Dave Rosen, Nick, yourself, Bill, and show plan, so we have an
Those
engineer.
are architects and engineers, correct?
Architects, engineers here.
And you reviewed the staff comments of the board's consultants?
I have,
And do you agree to be bound by those recommendations?
yes.
Was there anything within those recommendations that you would ask the board to consider, or would it be subject to the comments of your experts? So in other words, if their
Yes.
experts have
Yes.
an agreement or a discussion with the board experts, you would ask that the board consider that discussion.
Right.
And I have nothing further, Madam Chairwoman.
Are you going to bring your architects up?
Yes, we are.
Good. Okay, thank you.
I would ask that Nick Giuliano be called to the stand.
Does anybody have questions for the applicant, or do we want to wait? Okay, we might later.
And members of the public then also will have an opportunity to question Mr. Botros later as well, correct?
Thanks.
Okay.
All right. Hello.
Evening, everyone.
And remind me your name.
Nicholas Giuliano.
Okay,
Hello.
and you are,
I'm a partner with Rosen Kelly Conway
okay.
Architecture and Design, and I'm a licensed architect in New York and New Jersey.
okay.
Okay, please speak right into the mic.
Sure, better?
Yeah, it's hard for people to hear at home.
Great. Do you need me to repeat anything?
I think you're going to be voir dired by applicant's counsel, so we can accept you as an expert in the field of architecture, but I don't want to take the wind out of his sails.
Thank you,
Okay.
Mr. Warner. Have you ever appeared and provided testimony before a municipal agency in the state of New Jersey previously?
Yes.
And could you list those particular agencies?
Summit, New Jersey, Montclair, New Jersey, Rumson, New Jersey, Middletown, New Jersey, and I think that covers it in New Jersey.
I would ask you
License
to
remains in good standing?
Yes,
Thank you. Defer to the chair.
Go.
thanks.
You're accepted.
Okay, great. So, I mean, I won't belabor the point that the site is very rundown and not much is happening there right now. I think we've got planned here is a really attractive design for a new mixed-use building that'll offer a variety. Sure. Is that better? Sorry, I'm a low talker. So, yeah, I mean, on the
That would
current
help.
site, I think we've got planned a really kind of attractive and fitting building that will offer a variety of, more housing types for the city. We're focusing on people that may want to downsize and age in place in town and stay in Summit, but don't necessarily have the need for a whole house or a freestanding lot anymore. That's kind of the goal of the program of the project. We're slightly mixed use. We've got a fitness studio on the first floor of the building. I'll just move over to the ground floor plan here.
Yeah.
Is this exactly what was submitted to the
Except
board?
for the rendering in the front,
Correct. The
right?
renderings are exhibits. They're unchanged in design. They're just illustrative of the plans and elevations that
So to
were.
answer the attorney's question, the rendering, you had a catty-corner rendering that I don't think we have in our packet.
You do not, so if we could have
That
those
one.
accepted as A1, and I
Yep.
believe you have two other perspectives, if I'm not mistaken.
We do. We have 3 total perspectives around
Okay.
the building.
So those will just, A1, 2, 3.
Correct.
Okay.
And the drawings I'm moving over to now were part of the submitted
Yes,
packet.
we have these.
Yeah, just refer to the sheet in the last revised.
Sure. So on sheet A2, only has the one date submitted. Sure. So yeah, if everybody could please go to sheet A2, we can start there.
Sorry, go ahead.
So if you turn to sheet A2,
A2.
so on the ground floor of the building, we're primarily providing covered parking for the residents and the few spaces that are required by the commercial use on the first floor. The only commercial use in the building will be in the fitness studio. The fitness studio will primarily be for the residents of the building, but we will have one-on-one training sessions that could happen with outside occupants if people want to come and use the space for that.
So it's open to the public, correct?
Correct. It won't be, it's by appointment only.
By appointment.
Not large classes, really just one-on-one, one-on-two with a trainer that could double in, and it'll still be open to the occupants at all times. One of the comments in the staff reports were whether or not there would be a bathroom provided
Right.
if we do have this function of the outside public coming in for appointments, and we can add a single unisex restroom. We would probably put it right in part of this storage area here that's adjacent to the fitness studio. That storage space isn't allocated for anything specific. I'm sorry? Yeah.
Keep going.
And then the rest of the first floor is primarily just hallway space, elevator, 2 egress stairs that exit from the upper floors of the building at grade level, access to the basement. The basement will just be individual storage units for the building occupants and mechanical space. And then on the outside is where we have the refuse storage that'll be accessible from just the outside for collection, and there'll be individual trash rooms and chutes on each floor for the occupants. Then if we move to sheet A3, this is our typical floor layout for the residential units. Both floors have 3 units per floor. On each floor, 2 out of the 3 units are 3-bedroom units, and 1 of the units on this side is a 2-bedroom unit. And off to the corner here, elevator and trash room and staircases up and down. Each of the units have an outdoor terrace connected to the unit, and Jim had mentioned earlier that that's primarily one of the big contributors to the building coverage variance, is that they do count in building coverage. But again, just, to reiterate that we're very, very under the threshold on lot coverage for this project by locating the parking underneath the building itself. So we felt that that was a good trade-off to have a little bit of extra building coverage, but be considerably under on lot coverage and have a lot of the site remain pervious and planted and green. So then moving up to the third floor. Third floor, essentially the same floor plate, just the stair changes a little bit. And then on the roof, primarily flat roof, where we've got most of it allocated towards what we would need as mechanical space, and towards the back, we're programming it with a roof deck space that would be accessible. Sorry.
Yeah.
Roof deck space that would be accessible to the occupants of the building. So common shared outdoor use. No plans on the outdoor space for any kind of public use. It would really just be for the occupants of the building as kind of a third space for them. And then basement, just to reiterate, individual storage units for the 6 apartments upstairs, and just storage and mechanical space for the building infrastructure itself. And on the exterior of the building, I'll go back to the renderings a little bit for this one as well. If you turn to A7. So we're proposing a primarily brick facade for all.
What exhibit are we looking at now that you brought up on the screen?
Sheet A11.
But it would be
We don't have it.
designated as A3 in the evidence. So when you're calling it A11, we've noted it as either A1, 2, or 3. So
This one's A1, Jim. This will be
Right.
A1. This will be A1, A2, and A3 as I
when
go
you're
through.
referring to A1 or
11's
A11,
one.
Oh, I got
also
it.
indicate that it's A1.
Sure. So, yeah, exterior of the building, primarily brick facades, to just kind of remain consistent with a lot of the buildings that are in the area nearby. The Kings is a lot of masonry. There's a lot of other brick, low-rise residential buildings nearby. And then terraces are kind of carved out from the facade. They're not really additive to the building. They're kind of more tucked in within the facades. So they tuck in nicely here. And ground level will be really glassy, kind of to just encourage the view into that space for people that are walking by, being that it is a space that functions as commercial as well. And if we come around to Exhibit A2 here, this is if you're kind of standing back towards the train station and looking towards the intersection. This is the parking entry here that's all completely covered by the building itself. And on the sides, there's screening that goes up to about 6-7 feet above the ground, so that the adjoining properties can't really look into the parking area either. One of the staff comments was to possibly add an additional screen at the first parking space along Old Springfield Ave here, and we would be fine to add that. We think it's a good idea to further screen the parking so that really you only kind of see the cars once you're in the parking lot itself, and otherwise. And then if we go around to A3, or Exhibit A3, this is the view from Springfield Avenue, which is up a little bit higher in grade level from Old Springfield Ave. When you're on this side, the building appears a little bit more like 2 stories because most of the parking level is sunk at that point, lower below the grade level of the street. And we've a lot of evergreen arborvitae screening on the back part of this property as well, just to kind of further soften the edge of the property with the sidewalk and provide screening. And the roof primarily is flat. The ordinance does stipulate a 4 and 12 pitch, but we felt that most of the surrounding neighborhood, the roofs are already flat or just very low pitches. There's not a lot of 412 in that neighborhood aside from the one housing complex directly across the street. All of the commercial buildings along Springfield Avenue here are flat roofed. Kings is flat, and then the apartment buildings that are kind of off to the side here, the brick ones, very low pitch hip roofs on them. So we didn't feel that there was a lot of precedent necessarily in the immediate neighbors that it needed to be consistent with. So we felt like it could handle it. We introduced some gable shapes on the parapets of the roof as well, just to try to get a little bit of the angularity that maybe the ordinance wants there. We also felt that the flat roof kind of helps with the mechanical screening a little bit better too, because we can use the parapets to screen the mechanical units. We'll have screening right around the units themselves in addition, but the flat roof and the higher parapet from street level really kind of obscures any view you would have of the units themselves or the screening itself. So we thought that that was kind of a stronger option for this building. And it gave us a little bit of extra height to work with for the parking level. If we had pitched roofs, we'd probably be looking at maybe a building height variance because they slope up to a peak rather than just be flat at the top of the 3rd floor. And then most of the other variances, I think Jim kind of hit on. The loading area variance, we don't really need 70 feet for anything in this use of a building. We're not anticipating that a tractor trailer would ever come here and need to park on site. So we provided a loading area big enough just for a normal moving truck or a UPS truck if it needed to park in there, a delivery of any kind. But we think that the use of the building can handle the smaller depth for the loading area. And just a few more of the staff comments. We talked about the restroom already. There was a question about what the final landscaping would be for all of the areas that are pervious on our property. We will have a more developed landscape plan eventually. What the civil engineer showed is primarily diagrammatic for now, just to show where the evergreen screening would be. There will be more landscaping, probably certainly denser, more variety, and we'll have a landscape plan that gets submitted with that as part of the building permit package as well.
On behalf of the applicant, would you agree on his behalf to have that subject to the review and approval of John Linson, the city forester?
Sure, of course.
Thank you for saving me the effort of having to say that.
Yeah.
Check.
The additional screen was mentioned for the parking level on Old Springfield Ave. We would comply with that if it's requested, to have that last parking space be screened as well. Parking for the fitness studio, there was just a request to just provide testimony that it complies with the proposed business use. It would. The one-on-one fitness studio would fall under just a normal B business occupancy because it's not assembly and it's only a small occupancy number. So the excess parking spaces that we have, we need 13 for the residences and 3 for the commercial use, and we've got 16 total. So we're compliant with the city ordinance there. The parking area will have electric vehicle chargers integrated into it. We don't have the final number determined yet, but we would comply with whatever. 3. Yeah, we would probably have more than 3, I think, when. Yeah, we would have 1 for each unit, so 6 total. The building will be sprinklered, so that was one of the comments. The interior of the building will be sprinklered, and the parking area itself, the underside of the deck above it, will have exterior sprinklers, so we'll be well protected. The egress there in the parking area, we looked at that a little bit more, and we could turn it so that it doesn't empty right out onto the aisle. We could carve out a niche in one of the corners so that it empties out not onto the parking aisle or onto a parking space. It'll have its own kind of landing pad. So, and then the 23 wide aisle for the vehicular traffic, we felt it was okay to be the 23 feet just because it's a very low traffic level parking area. It's just the residents. It's not really a public use aside from just the couple spots at the front, so we're okay with using it if.
Yeah, I think it just needs a formal request from RSIS.
Okay.
I think it just there has to be something that goes through. I think the ordinance in Summit allows it, so I don't see a problem with it.
Yeah, but we have the room to do it.
Is it de minimis RSIS exception?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, we have the room to do it if it really needed to be. We felt that the parking spaces were better with the 23 because if we went to the 24, some of the columns would encroach onto some corners of parking spaces. And we just thought that the parking spaces would be better if we could have the extra space there rather than in the aisle, so.
Nick, following up on what Ms. Raffay and you were talking about, could you describe for the board what the RSIS is and how that applies with the DRO? And
Sure.
what the discrepancy is that you're talking about?
Sure. So RSIS is a New Jersey state-level organization that sets a lot of the parameters for residences themselves in like multifamily buildings and apartment buildings. A lot of the commercial use, if it was a mixed-use building, falls at the town level. So the parking, for instance, the number of spaces for the units, that's determined by RSIS, not Summit. But if there is another use in the building, like our ground floor commercial, that does fall to Summit's jurisdiction under the zoning ordinance. So it's a combination of both as it relates to parking and traffic and vehicular access when it's a mixed-use building.
Thank you.
And I think the last staff comment that we had a response to, the roof access is planned for residents only right now, no public use. And the lighting on the roof, I think, I know that was questioned during the submission process, but that is all just kind of on the parapet shining down, so there's no light spillage from the roof onto the adjoining property at all, so.
In reviewing the architecture, can you go through the lighting that's associated with the building, understanding that the site lighting is going to be the purview of the engineer?
Sure. So pretty much all of the site lighting that we have is really just at the perimeter of the building at the ground
We
floor.
don't have that. Can you blow that up so we can see
Sure.
the lighting?
I could also open up the engineer's plan if it's clear. It shows the actual individual lighting points,
Well,
but
Mr. Scott will go through the site plan
Okay.
lighting. Your lighting, if descriptive, is for the lighting at the points of entry, the roof, anything that's associated with the building.
right. So ours is all along the front on Old Springfield and kind of as you turn at the intersection towards Springfield Ave. And it's all architectural downlights mounted in between the glass storefronts at the fitness studio area and the residential entry. This piece right here is the double entry doors into the residential lobby from Old
It's roughly
Springfield
6
Ave.
feet.
It is over 6 feet, mostly just because we felt like it looked better with the actual design of the storefronts. The storefronts are a little taller. We've got a little bit more height on the first floor because of the parking clearances that we wanted to provide in the deck. So
What height are those on the building?
these are at 8 feet.
Yeah, okay.
So 8 feet, they shine down, they're all shielded. There's no bare bulb exposure on any of the fixtures, no uplighting, and it's really mostly just kind of wayfinding lighting that shines down, not really anything that would go outward. And I think, there's the building is set off of the property line enough that they're not going to throw anything out onto the street that's certainly brighter than the street lighting and sidewalk lighting that already exists. So we feel that it's an appropriate amount for the building and not too much. And again, on the roof, everything is internal on the roof parapet, shining down just to kind of illuminate the ground area of the roof. Nothing that's above parapet level and nothing that would spill over.
How tall is the parapet?
Probably 42 inches, I think, above finished
On all of
deck level. Yeah,
Except for the peak is a little more.
right.
Will
So
there
your
be-
mechanical should be much lower than that for
They'll-
this kind of a building, I would think.
There'll probably be a unit or two that's taller, but they'll be set back far enough from the parapet that the sight lines from the street, you wouldn't really be able to see them from anywhere.
Because I don't think having additional screening that's taller is going to be advantageous necessarily. If your
Yeah, it may
parapet's
not,
tall
it
enough,
may
I
not
don't
be
think you should
needed.
bother.
We've had projects in the past where the units were set back far enough and the parapet was high enough that there was no vantage point around the immediate area that you could connect the sight line. We just haven't designed the mechanical system exactly yet, so I
You have
can't
your
say.
amenity space back there, so.
Yes.
You're probably not going
Yeah.
to want to back it up too much.
Right.
because then it's
There'll be
a-
and there'll be an internal parapet as well that separates the amenity space from the mechanical roof area, so.
I mean, we could do subject to sightline study, just in case it's not what you think, because you haven't designed it yet or shown
Right.
us.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anything will be higher than 4 feet, including dunnage. But again, I don't want to put a number in the testimony because we haven't designed it yet.
Yeah, it should be lower than the parapet. I think that's doable.
Yeah.
If I
CLI.
can, Madam Chairwoman,
Yeah.
and Nick, what's dunnage?
Dunnage is the structure that the roof equipment is mounted
It's like-
on,
Oh, you know it.
because it can't just sit right on the roof deck itself. So there's extra structure in the roof where the mechanical equipment is, and then on that structure, vertical points and a platform for the mechanical to sit on. Gives it free area underneath it for airflow and things like that. But usually it's pretty shallow, so 18 inches or less.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have started questions, but do you have anything else to share before we?
I don't think so, unless Jim would like me to hit on any more points. I think, we kind of have an overall.
I have some questions, but I'd like to open it up to the
I
board.
have just a quick question. In the horrible event that there's an accident or something, an ambulance is going to park just sort of on the street? They're not going to go into the parking lot, probably, right?
They could, I mean, the headroom is in there for like a large.
Probably not a fire truck or something.
No, fire truck, no. Ambulance, yes. Or the loading area next to the parking area could handle it. But fire truck probably is on the street, I would think.
Interesting you brought that up. Were you done? Do you have more to say?
Yeah, I was just trying to understand how. And so the stretcher would come out through that residence entrance then, not probably through the parking lot, I would guess.
Which residence entrance?
I mean, the door, I'm assuming if you're walking in, you haven't come in your car,
Right,
you're going to go in sort of the front door.
Right.
Aren't you? And so this, I'm just thinking, I don't want to be macabre, but if there's an ambulance, it's going to park at the front door, the stretcher is going to come out the front door. And not
there's-
have to depend on the loading dock or anything?
No, it could go in two different ways. I'm going to just go back to sheet A2 here. If you park your car, the sequence is you'd come in and you don't have to go back out onto the sidewalk. There's another entrance for the residents here. And this would have just a sloped ramp curb here. So if something comes in and parks in the parking lot, a stretcher can go up without hitting a threshold or a 4-inch step of any kind into that door and right into the lobby.
Can
And
you
then the-
expand this a little bit?
Sure.
So you're saying that this is a sufficiently wide door from the parking directly to the hall for its stretcher and
Yeah, it's a 40-inch wide exterior door that'll fit any kind of stretcher, the elevator size to fit a standard stretcher as well, so.
I wasn't going to go here yet, but in looking at your plan and your site plan, and maybe the engineer will speak to this, but you might know. When I've seen similar projects, not in New Jersey, just, professionally, sometimes in some jurisdictions, they require a fire truck to be able to drive around the whole perimeter so that they can access in case there's a fire. And this is such an unusual site, and it has, you know, the elevated road behind and all of that. How, the way it's designed now, with just this small loading area and no access on this side, and really no access from the railroad side and the bridge, how would they fight a fire in this situation? I wasn't gonna start with that, I was
That's sort of
gonna
where
do
I was
that later,
thinking.
but, you know, you brought it up, so, yeah, I'm a little concerned about how do they access, and this is, how deep? You know,
Where?
the maximum depth is 100 and some feet, right?
Which side?
From your front of your, where you enter the parking lot to the rear of the parking lot, which is in the building. I'm
Yeah, I
just
mean,
saying, how
I-
deep is your building, how wide is your building, can they service it if there's a fire?
I mean, I
Considering
suppose
it's
they
an
could
odd-
just use this whole area here as well. I mean, even if it is grass, they could just go on
So
it.
by
It's an
here,
open
can,
area.
just for the record, can you speak directionally?
Yeah, well, if you could look at the screen.
No, but I mean for the
Yeah.
record,
Oh.
somebody's,
So on
might
the-
read a record,
Oh,
might
from-
read a
from-
transcript.
That's
Old
the west
Spring.
side, right? On the west side, beyond the loading area.
Yes, yeah,
West side.
off
Thank
of
you.
Old Springfield Avenue.
So they could go back there, because that's gonna be flush grass, you said.
We could, yeah. There's a little bit of a slope as you get towards the back. This starts getting steeper and steeper as you go up, but
And then on the other side, it's gonna have retaining walls and
Right,
such. So
right.
this side is really tougher to get to.
right.
Okay. So as far as fire code, any of those issues come up, or is this something
we
for
haven't-
your engineer to talk
the-
about?
We
We can
didn't
have
get
the-
any comments from the fire
Right.
inspector regarding that, so.
The staff comments did go to Eric Evers, Fire Chief. He did not submit a report, but we have Bill Scott here, a civil engineer,
Okay.
longstanding, and he'll be able to provide the area that if there was a requirement for a fire lane, that this site would be able to accommodate that.
I think beyond that, just want to know, how are you going to fight a fire in this? I mean, how is it fire compliant with this unusual, I mean, it's a very unusual situation, having this elevated road behind it. It's just unusual. How are you going to fight a fire on this side of the building? I don't know. I'm just concerned about that. But I had other questions that are more typical questions, but who else has questions for the architect? Okay.
On a similar vein, garbage collection. Now, your dumpsters are way in the back, and there's no roadway towards them. Where would the garbage trucks pick up? And, I mean, moving the dumpsters, to be able to,
Our plan is that it's privately contracted and there is pathway to the back room for them to come and take out the trash on whatever basis it is, if it's weekly or
But they would-
bi-weekly or staggered for recycling and garbage. But there is access for them to get to that area and access it just from the exterior without going in the building.
okay, but they would need to park on the street? Is that,
Yes, or in the loading area.
because that side of the street is currently no parking for its entire length.
Yeah, or they would park in the loading
and it-
space. Yeah.
Okay. And then have to back up onto Old Springfield Avenue?
Right.
I mean, the traffic there is an ongoing thing with the grocery store, and school traffic comes that way, and it gets a little crazy, and of course, the train station.
Yeah, I mean, that is the plan, for them to get in and out off of Old Springfield, so.
Okay.
Any other questions?
You mentioned downsizing as the target. It's not being presented as it's not probably a question for you, but it's not a senior housing presented project to the city, is it?
No.
No.
That's not the target, that's just a need. Okay.
We are marketing it to people downsizing.
If I could recall.
He remains under
Mr.
oath, that's okay.
Botros, I couldn't hear you and it wasn't recorded.
I think the proper is that it's not limited to senior housing.
Right, it'd just
It's
Marketed to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I have a question about, can you talk to the retaining wall and the fence, or is that the engineer?
I think the engineer would be
Okay.
best for that. Certainly, if Nick feels that he wants to talk about it from an
I
architectural
mean,
standpoint.
This is really an architect's question. The metal panning that you're going to use, or the metal siding that you're going to use on the first floor, can you tell us more about that? I mean, it seems like, where you're having a driveway and you're having, people walking by, it may be dented easily, it may not be the most practical choice. Did you consider just bringing the brick down all the way?
Can you bring up the perspective? so
Sure, yeah.
That I can follow the chair's question. And-
So the first floor is a metal paneling system,
That's right.
and I can just imagine it getting dented really easily, because it's a high traffic, the first floor is the most trafficked.
Yeah, I mean,
area.
Show the one-
it
I'm
won't
sorry,
get
Nick.
dented because of the way it's mounted. I mean, there's not like free air behind it. It's mounted on a system that's on a masonry wall. So there's really, I mean, it's heavy-duty stuff. It's not like aluminum, like
And in the
consumer-
neighborhood, what were you picking up on doing a metal panel first floor?
Well, generally, the ordinance encourages for mixed use in commercial buildings. They like to have the ground level podium be kind of expressed differently than the rest of the building. So right from the get-go, we didn't want to have the brick go all the way to the ground because we wanted the ground level to kind of have its own expression, given that it's got the parking area and the commercial use, and then
Well,
it
you'll
would
have
go
the
to brick.
screens.
The screens as
And
well.
you'll have more glazing.
Yeah,
And
and
your
the
lighting.
aluminum. The aluminum we're picking mostly just because it's a common material for these kind of ground floor storefronts, and the way that they install it with kind of the staggered joints and things, it kind of does echo stone paneling a little bit at, not the same price point or maintenance level that like a natural stone would, but that would, the color would probably be consistent with like a masonry color as well, like a bronze or type color. So.
And there's no bulkhead at the bottom? Is that practical? Shouldn't there be a bulkhead at the bottom of the storefronts?
We could, I mean, maybe just like one course of stone of some kind might be just at the ground level, but I don't think we want to have an
With the
expressed.
salt and the snow?
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just
but not like an
not gonna
expressed
last.
wainscot. We didn't want too
I'm
many
saving you some money
layers.
down the road.
So,
Right. Okay, and the screens,
Mm-hmm.
can you show us any cut sheets or anything with the appearance of the screens that you're proposing?
yeah, I could zoom. I'm going to zoom into one right now. We don't have a specific product picked yet, but the renderings show a pretty good idea of kind of what it would look like. It can either be a dark metal or composite material. It's got kind of
So
just
they're
a,
quite translucent.
yeah, I mean, it's just, this is just diagrammatic for the rendering. I
it's
mean, we
really
could
like
make
a
them
metal
as,
mesh,
we could
just
make them
fence.
as dense as you'd
It's
like.
not really a screen then, right? It's more like a fence?
Kind of, yeah.
Metal-
Mhm.
Metal mesh fence?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I just want to make sure I'm asking the right person the right questions. Would there be any alternative material that you could use there to give it actually a more of a solid finish between the road and the parking area so that it would look more like a finished wall?
Yeah, I mean, we could make the screen design more dense and just have less free area and more solid space and kind of the way that the
Just
lattice
to
is
screen
constructed.
the cars and their lights and all of that.
Right,
It would be
yeah.
better for the surrounding neighbors.
Yeah.
Okay, that would be a condition. The one thing that is probably a difficult question, but I want to ask you anyway, is, I noticed that they're generous apartments. You're doing a third more FAR than what's allowed. And you have a big entry in the middle, not in the middle, but on the sidewalk, big entrance in the middle of the building, rather than having building there, kind of a street wall that's more comfortable to walk down. Was there any discussion early on when you started this design process to do the entrance to the side, away from the building, and then come around and enter on the side of the building so that the big garage door is not on the main face of the building? The
Zoom
HBC
out.
mentioned it as well as, something that,
We didn't really look at it. I mean, just at first glance right now, the turn radiuses would probably get difficult. I mean, part of the challenge on this site is that one of the sites as it is right now is kind of not really buildable because of how triangulated it is. Once you kind of really start blocking out the building massing, you can't do much with it. So we're already kind of pushed to have the building be towards the one side of the two lots combined. And the further we push it more towards the intersection to get more turn radius for cars to come in and out, the harder it gets to develop because you start getting more into the tighter part of the angle. Also, we just wanted to not take up more impervious coverage than we needed to with driveways on the site, and we could just come right
do you have a
off.
garage door?
There are no doors, no. I
Or
mean,
could you have a garage door, so it's more of a street wall and people aren't coming in and out?
I suppose we could. I don't think it would look as good. I think you'd have a big solid wall most of the time. I think kind of having it just be more of a void makes it look lighter, personally, than not having it be a solid thing that comes
Right.
down.
I'm thinking of the pedestrians, walking down, what feels more comfortable to them. Having a big hole with
Do you
the
have a
parking
picture? Do they have the?
is probably not as comfortable.
I suppose I'd go back to Ms. Morrison's point just about Old Springfield being a busy road. I don't think you want cars queuing up waiting for doors to open every time they want to get in and out of their
That train ride is pretty busy.
unit.
A lot of pedestrians are walking by on
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I mean, I understand. I don't know how practical it is for the site to just have them constantly have to have a door come up and
Okay.
down.
I'd like others' input on that. I think that's all I have for architecture. Just making sure. Adding the bathroom. Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, great.
Yes, yes, I
Members may have
want the
questions.
board professionals to go next.
Just a few questions, because you touched upon a lot.
Sure.
A lot of what was in my memo. The ordinance does have a whole host of architectural design standards.
Ooh, microphone, sorry, Joe.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Could you just confirm that you're in compliance with all of those standards?
We are, yeah. I mean, there's a long list about how long facade lengths can be before there's a, expression in the relief of it. The expressing kind of the podium level, how much glass you have at the storefront level, at ground level. So we're in compliance with all of them.
I
Well,
thought
also
so,
the
but I
design
wasn't-
guidelines in the appendix.
Yes.
Did you get to see those?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then secondly, you mentioned a lot of the variances you require. Are you having a planner testify on that, or
No.
not?
No.
So could we have some testimony about the statutory criteria for each of those variances then, and how it's being addressed?
He's touched upon the C1 with regard to the fact that you have a shaped lot that is somewhat unique, but difficult to work with. You have the topography.
Let the expert testify then, okay.
You ready, Nick?
Sure.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
wanna-
Yes,
Yeah.
would you describe how the shape and topography of the site presents the applicant with an undue hardship and practical difficulty in realizing the development of this property?
Sure. Right now, I'm on the submitted civil engineering plan. I think it'll just be easiest to go over this, being able to look at some of the topography that exists on the site currently.
It's hard to see.
Which sheet and last revised?
I don't know how you read these sheets. 2-7?
Sheet 3 of 7 on the grading utilities and stormwater management plan.
I'm sorry.
3-7.
Yeah, no, I got that part. The last revised date.
November 10th, 2025.
Thank you.
So, yeah, I mean, if you look at kind of the site as a whole here and just sort of comparing some of these room sizes that we have internally as you get kind of further towards the intersection, the triangular area here gets kind of very unbuildable just with the slope that exists currently from Springfield right up to, or Old Springfield up to Springfield, and just being able to get kind of a practical building shape to work, as it gets more towards the intersection here, this was the zone where we felt that the building could be planned in a more efficient way. So, I mean, I
And
don't-
does that contribute to the variance that's being requested for putting the units all in one building rather than trying to create two buildings?
Yes.
So that goes to the size of the building as to the 10,000 square foot limit.
Yes.
And
And the
with re-
overall FAR for the site, the ratio itself, I just want to reiterate, is conforming. It's 75% of lot area, and we're beneath that. So we are over the 10,000 square foot gross limit, but the 75% floor area ratio, we are conforming to that.
And with regard to the benefits to be gained by the project as a whole, do you have an opinion, and can you provide the facts as to how those benefits substantially outweigh any detriment?
Yeah, I mean, just developing the site to begin with, I think, is a benefit to the immediate neighborhood. It's a nicer building to look at for the neighbors. I think it helps neighbors' property values, having, a attractive building next door versus an abandoned site. And for the building itself, like I said earlier in the beginning of the presentation, I think the goal here is to provide, a bigger variety of housing type for the city, aside from just freestanding homes. People looking to downsize that want to stay in Summit, primarily Summit residents already that are going to be downsizing. So I think the benefits are twofold for the neighborhood itself, and then just for, for the whole city and what the building can offer.
Do we need more, Mr. Burgess?
No, I think your comments earlier touched upon a number of the things, didn't use the wording, but what I just heard was fine. Just could you touch upon the lighting height in terms of the criteria? You're allowed, you're proposing 10 feet, you're allowed 8 feet. What's the physical condition that warrants that exceedance?
I mean, generally, just our first floor is a little bit taller, than a typical story would be. And as such, the glass storefront height is a little bit taller as well to kind of maximize the view. And we felt that just the lighting height worked better to kind of just illuminate the whole ground facade at the higher height, rather than it being kind of up, maybe just a little bit more than halfway. It gets it up a little bit higher and kind of illuminates the whole storefront
So in a
better.
way, that's more of a C2 relief? There's more in the way of a C2
Yes.
than a public benefit relief? Okay. I'll go with
But
that.
the lighting you've shown us so far was 8 feet. We haven't seen the lighting that's,
No, that lighting is 10, that's on the front facade.
okay.
Yes.
You said it was 8.
I'm sorry, I misspoke.
Okay. I was waiting for the 10-foot from the engineer. Okay. So that's, wow. So how tall is your first story?
12 feet to the underside of the structure that spans over the parking deck, so.
Okay. All right. Are there any other questions for this? Oh, sorry, Marie.
Yep, no, that's okay. I
Yeah.
had a few.
Yes.
I have some that I'm saving for the engineer, but could you talk about some of the amenities that might be on the roof? Any permanent structures, any temporary structures in the amenity space?
I mean, in the amenity space itself, it's just a roof deck. There are permanent structures at roof level, but it's limited to just the stair bulkheads for the egress stairs and the elevator lobby if you take the elevator up to the roof. But we don't have anything planned as far as gazebos or pergolas or anything like that. It's just the roof deck,
And there's no extra railing, just the parapet.
just the parapet.
And you have foot lighting around the amenity space?
Yeah, the parapet on the inside wall will have shielded kind of downlights just to kind of softly illuminate the ground level if you're up there at night, so.
Okay. You mentioned about the landscaping on Springfield, that what was shown on the engineering plan, and I can ask, this is kind of like between two of you, so if you'd rather me put this off to the engineer, that's fine. Your rendering that you showed from Springfield showed some arborvitae that looked like maybe they were on top of the retaining wall area. But those arborvitae are not shown on the engineering plan, which do you think is going to be more accurate?
I think the final landscaping plan will just have more landscaping overall than anything that's been shown to this point. We're mostly just kind of diagrammatic with the landscaping right now. The condition of an updated landscaping plan by a landscape architect that would go to John Linson would address that.
I think that's a good condition, and maybe we can also just say that that corner that where old Springfield and current Springfield meet needs to really have a lot more landscaping that's year-round.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Are you proposing, could you talk about the mailroom, any packages? I see there's something on your architectural plans about mail, but could you kind of talk about that for testimony?
Sure. So, yeah, on sheet A2 of our drawing set, we'd have a mail drop right at the vestibule, right off the street. As far as package delivery, this storage area that's allocated over here, that may become package storage. And it's only 6
bathroom.
units, so we don't expect that big of a volume, but, you know, every year people are getting more stuff from Amazon. So, but we do have space allocated for it on the ground floor.
Okay. Are there any outlets proposed in any of the storage areas for maybe e-bikes or anything of that matter?
We haven't gotten that far yet with lighting and individual room electrical, but certainly a consideration. You know,
Well,
given they're pretty good sized rooms, so.
Right. I guess that's my question, and that would be something for the board to consider. Do you want e-bikes in there, or do you not want e-bikes in there? That is something that you need to talk about.
Sometimes they.
Fire.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Inside.
So I would think that that may be something that maybe the board should consider whether they want or not want. I think that's all I had for architecture.
Okay.
Okay.
I
Joe?
forgot one
Sorry.
other- one
Mr.
other
Christofoli
point.
is after you.
And this is more,
Mr. Christofoli is after you. Okay.
Okay. With 6 units, one has to be an affordable unit.
Yes,
So that as a condition, there should be a deed restriction on that one unit.
that's right.
With
That should be in the
regard,
resolution.
Oh, no, we got
with
it.
regard to the affordable unit, we're requesting that as a condition of approval, putting in the affordable unit or the referral to the common council to seek a ability to have a payment in lieu of construction of that affordable unit. The prior ordinance in the DRO, which was just recently repealed, allowed that process before common council, and that's common council's decision as to whether or not to allow that. There's aspects associated with this application that present a serious financial challenge to achieving this result, and that ability to put the affordable unit either through the trust fund or an alternative site is something that may be necessary to achieve that. But what we're saying is certainly an affordable unit will be provided, but we're asking, and as a condition of approval, that we'll refer that to common council for their determination.
Council, do we have to do that?
Well, a couple of things, and we'll want Mr. Burgess, our planner, to speak to it as well, I would assume. But just so I understand what the requested condition is that, correct me if I'm wrong, you will either construct one affordable unit, or in the alternative, if and only if common council permits, with the appropriate authority to do so, a payment in lieu of construction. You might choose the payment in lieu of construction in the alternative. If common council does not permit it, you are stipulating to providing on-site construction of the required affordable unit with the appropriate deed restriction. Am I correct in my understanding of the condition?
Yes.
Okay, now maybe the board wants to hear from
Okay.
Mr. Burgess if he has an opinion with respect to that requested condition of approval.
I will have to double check to make certain with the new fourth round rules, because for those that are not aware, although there was the March 15th deadline, on March 16th, the program issued a new set of guidelines.
No.
And I have not yet finished going over all those, that 50 or 60-page document. I'm not certain that you're allowed to do that any longer, but I will double check and then report back to the board on that.
That would be acceptable.
So
We
it-
do
So
point
do we
out-
proceed now as if you're building the
I
affordable unit
think-
unless something changes?
Right, I
Is
think the
that-
way Mr. Warner, I set the stage for it.
Okay.
Addresses the question that I just
Okay.
raised.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I might add to that, that I'm a council member here in Summit, and the guidance we've received is that all of the mechanisms under the court-agreed affordable housing fair share plan, all of those mechanisms, we need to show progress on them. So that's the guidance I've received, but I'm sure there could be more legal opinions on that.
And if I may, Madam Chair, and to follow up on the councilman's
Sorry.
statement, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Burgess, this particular unit would be part of a mandatory set-aside ordinance requirement, but not necessarily a fourth-round mechanism, or would it be a fourth-round?
No, it would be a fourth-round mechanism,
Pursuant to the or mandatory set-aside
and it
ordinance?
is part of the mandatory set-aside
Okay.
requirements.
So we, okay. All right. Okay. So we have the stipulation, it's a stipulation with a contingency. So, can't get any more definitive than that.
All right. Okay. So, are we all, did you get everything? No.
No, I had two questions. Going back to your, Jennifer, your questions about the screening in front of the parking area, the rendering that we received on page A1 shows solid panels here, where the one on the screen, the 3D rendering, showed that that was open to
The one
the,
on the elevation that was submitted, that's the stair that's back about halfway in the parking area.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because it appeared to me as if that were a solid front
Corner.
to the parking area.
Yeah.
No, that's set back. Yeah. We don't have the
Okay.
screens on that elevation of the original submission. So, but
So I think, for me, that's an important feature to have that screening there. And the other question is on the workout studio. I think most people, certainly of my age, would prefer not to have all the glass windows when they're working out. And is that something that might be under consideration, more privacy for the the gym users? And separately, would that space also be available for other retail uses? I'm not familiar with the zoning for this site, whether other retail uses that might be more appropriate for the kind of facade there with the windows. Are you also considering those other uses?
for your first question, we definitely could provide an additional internal screening system, just via window treatments. For the outside of the building, the ordinance does encourage, glass for as much as you possibly can do for the ground level. So we want to be consistent with that and address it. But I understand what you're saying, and internally we can do, even if it's like an up-down kind of mechanism where maybe the upper portion of the glass is still clear and you could kind of get a sense of what's going on inside, but there is screening at kind of eye level for passerbys. And then for other
This is
retail
for the business
use-
zone, where they want activity at the street level. That's what he's talking about.
Yeah. And then
I'm
for
the
the
new
other.
member
But I
here,
totally
so I get-
understand your
I get to
question.
ask the basic questions. I'm new to this, to the planning board and to these issues, although I did take my 6-hour training course. But, so that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, and then as far as the other retail uses, 2 out of the 4 walls are solid. It would definitely be a retail business that has a layout that could handle glass at the front wall. One of the early things that we talked about was the dry cleaning, the pickup component of it. There's the dry cleaning building next door, and we had looked at an early idea of maybe this is just an an annex to that where people could just come and pick up and drop off deliveries, but none of the actual cleaning happens in this little spot. It's just a storefront for customers. So there's definitely flexibility in what could go in that space in terms of just square footage and how much solid wall there is for them to kind of back up the infrastructure too, so.
Yeah, and if I may add to that, the ordinance does permit a variety of retail and service commercial uses at this location.
But then, wouldn't we have to worry more about parking there on site?
It depends
mean,
on what the use is. So
Yeah.
some of them, there's, I don't want to list the whole parking ordinance, but different uses have different spaces that are required per, for ours, it's 1 parking space per 200 square feet of gross floor area.
Okay.
And our space is 405 square feet, so it necessitates 3 parking spaces. But if you have a different type of use, like an educational or a retail space, they have different formulas for it. So it would be limited to what could fit with 3 parking spaces as
Well,
well.
You're compliant with your proposed
Yes.
use, but if you were to change the use, particularly one that would increase the parking requirement, you'd be back in front of us.
In theory, yes, but we're not proposing that, so,
Correct.
yeah.
Okay. All right, so I think we are,
this one.
oh, sorry.
So there's no exterior parking for the retail space? They're going to park underground to get to access the retail space?
It's not really underground, it's just, it's street level but covered.
They're going to park
Covered.
uncovered,
Mhm.
and then they're going to walk out to street level
Right,
and then towards the Springfield area.
right.
So, I mean, this seems a little difficult for ongoing, drop-off for clothing. It seems like you'd have a lot of traffic. You don't want to have that retail space to have a lot of traffic of cars coming in and out.
Yeah, I mean, I think for the proposed use that we have, it's not going to be a high traffic, it's an appointment-based,
You
yeah,
said it will be an exercise place
Right.
for the residents primarily.
right.
So you're very limited in what you can do. Whether it's zoned or not, you've got a situation where it can't be a high-traffic volume of cars coming in and out.
Yeah, correct, and recognize that at 400 and some square feet, this would be a very small retail or service commercial use. So, in all likelihood, what's being proposed will probably stay there for a long time.
I mean, so basically, it is a space that's going to be used for the residents. I mean, for all intents and purposes, that's what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a dual use. It's appointment-based use for non-residents
I
and,
mean, so to call it a retail space is, I mean, really, it's part of the structure and part of the amenity for the residents.
sure, I mean, I wouldn't call it a retail space. I would just say it's a fitness studio, that is being either used by the residents or by appointment for public.
I'm sure maybe I dovetail off the question, and hopefully it'll be helpful with the question and answer, but Mr. Burgess, if the personal training studio area were to be considered accessory to the residential use, primary residential use of the building, would that have any impact from a zoning and planning perspective?
Yes.
And what would that impact be?
If it was solely accessory for the residents, it wouldn't generate any parking requirement. But the fact that they're making it available to outsiders, even if on a limited basis, that's what
By
generates
appointment
the
only.
by appointment only. That's what generates the demand for 3 additional parking spaces on site.
But otherwise, it would not have any impact, either would be permitted, correct?
Both would be permitted,
Either or
yes.
both, okay.
So in the zone, you don't have to have a retail component on the first floor?
No, you're not obligated to.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe the ordinance encourages the use of that, so.
Neighborhood business, yeah.
Our thought was that maybe commuters that are going to the train station might come here and they might do a once-a-week class before. So in terms of like wayfinding on the site, it might be regular people that come weekly or every 2 weeks, and they kind of know once they're there for the first time, they know their way around to be able to park in the main parking level and just double back out to the street, so.
Okay. Do we have any other questions for this witness?
I just have one more about the parking. Now, each spot will be clearly labeled as belonging to different units, because one of the issues over there is there's limited parking for the train station, and don't want people sneaking in or, or taking any of those retail spots, right? So,
Sure,
I mean, it'll
yeah.
all be clearly labeled.
It would all be controlled, either deeded spots or just labeled. The spaces for the public use and the handicap space would all be kind of positioned towards the front door, tucked in that corner of the parking lot, so.
Okay.
For clarification, Mr. Weber, is the applicant proposing to designate spaces for residents only? And if so, is the applicant also proposing to designate those spaces by unit? What is the plan for the parking?
The answer is yes, Mr. Warner.
Okay.
As to both?
As to both.
Okay, so there'll be three public, and there'll be 13 for residences, and there'll be units 1 through 13, or whatever the units are. That's the proposal.
It sounds as though one of the units is going to have 3 spaces.
Wait, I'm
So
sorry.
if you have
Actually,
6 units there, and...
I'm sorry, 6 units, however many space. The 6 units will be designated for particular, how many spaces per?
There are only
how-
three for the
Yeah,
retail
and you have
space.
15 altogether, I thought I heard.
16.
Or 16
There's
altogether.
16.
Okay, so there's 13 spaces extra, and there's only 6 units.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Well,
how
'cause it was-
how you
It could be a
designated the
visitor.
parking? The rest
I
is
like
visitor?
that.
Yeah.
Yes, one will be designated for a visitor.
Well, 1 through 6 will be for the units, and then the rest will be for, okay, thank you.
So 1 through 6 would be designated, and then the remainder would be open. You would designate it, so each unit would have 2 designated.
That's why we asked the questions.
That's 12.
And so that's 12. That's 12. Which leaves us with, which
that-
unit gets the 3rd space?
Well, not only that, who's getting the,
Okay.
that's right, you get the other 3, okay. All right.
I think we've covered Ms. Morrison's worry. Okay. Are we,
For Mr. Warner, so did we ignore the affordable housing question for purposes of our deliberations today, or?
My understanding from the request from the applicant is that if the board grants the approval and takes the condition as stipulated by the applicant, effectively what the condition is the applicant will either build on-site one or designate one of the units as deed restricted for affordable housing, or in the alternative, if the city council, the common council, permits with authority that Mr. Burgess will confirm, if they have it or not, if they permit a payment in lieu of construction, there is a corresponding amount that corresponds to 1 unit of affordable housing that would be provided and paid to the city's Affordable Housing Trust Fund, which has certain requirements for utilization to be associated with affordable housing in the city. So that's why I said it's a contingent on Mr. Burgess's advice on what the Common Council ultimately does as to whether they get the option to do a payment in lieu of construction or whether they are simply required to designate the unit on site. And if that's what their requirement is, they've agreed that they're going to live with it, and they're going to designate that 1 unit as affordable on site.
for our purposes, though, to me,
And-
it sounds like, and I'm not an attorney, that we're approving an application with 1 affordable unit. If they can get relief from the city council,
Yes.
that's another matter.
Right.
Yes.
But
But
you're.
that's
right.
what we're looking at.
Well, right,
That's
but
how
that's
I
how the,
read it.
right, but that's how the condition would be worded. It would give them that option, whereas if, you might alternatively say, no, it's 1 unit, and 1 unit only, on site forget it, you can't make an application to the Common Council. That's not what we're approving. So that's why
Do
you're.
we have that power to not give them that right to go to city council if we confirm that the new March 16th rules allow it?
Well, they could always make the.
Then that's a discussion.
They can always make the request of Common Council, but you as a planning board are approving an application with variances, with conditions. So that would be an interesting situation if you said simply, you build the one unit. They may go to Common Council. If Common Council gives them the ability for a payment in lieu of construction, they may have to come back to you. So that's why.
So can we approve it
it should
with the
be-
one unit, and they can separately do that?
Well, we have to separately do that.
They have to separately do it
mean-
anyway.
Well, but you
I
You
think-
have to know what we're approving.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I think what we just discussed, Mr. Burgess and I, and made clear, I thought, for everybody, is the way you want to go. That's what that's why we've set it up this way. It gives them the option to go to Common Council, get the authority to do the payment in lieu of construction if it's so advised. And as long as you're okay with them doing one or the other, as long as they go to Common Council and get the authority, then that's the wisest choice for a condition of approval, so that they don't have to come back. You have to deal with it
That's the
again.
if. Are we okay with them going and asking for that? You're saying if we're okay with it?
Well, you can't prohibit them from
Okay,
asking,
that's- okay.
but if you but if they came, if you set it up in a certain way right now, if that was your desire, then they'd have to come back to you again. That's all, so. It's your choice, it's the board's choice.
Got it.
Might be prudent to do it the
Got
first
it,
way.
okay. Engineer?
Before we move on to the engineer, two conditions. No sound amplification on the rooftop. No e-bikes.
Okay.
Okay, you're
Good.
stipulating to
Thank
those,
you.
okay.
Well, no e-bikes in the storage area in the basement.
Right,
So,
right. And Madam Chair, do you want to have the public ask questions at the very end of all
Oh,
the
no, you're right,
witnesses,
but I
or?
don't even see any Does anybody from the public want to ask questions of the architect? I'm sorry.
Or if you had, if the chair permits, if you had any for Mr. Botros.
I don't see
No
any.
public
Okay,
questions.
moving on. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
I would ask that Bill Scott be called to the stand to be sworn in to give testimony in this matter.
He's already been sworn, but he can come to the stand.
Mr. Scott, you've already been sworn.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Would you provide the board with your credentials?
I obtained a Bachelor of Science degree from the Clarkson University School of Engineering in New York. I became a licensed professional engineer in 2004. I've had my license in good standing since then. It's in good standing now. I've appeared before the planning and zoning boards of Summit several times in the past, once on this property. I've appeared before numerous other boards throughout central New Jersey, Chatham, Madison, Westfield.
I suspect the
Great.
chair's going to accept you as an expert.
Thank you.
Thank
In
you.
the field
You're
of civil
accepted.
engineering.
Yes. Proceed.
But speak up.
I thought I was.
Get in that microphone so people at home can hear you. Yeah.
I'm another soft talker, unfortunately. I know you're all familiar with the site. The geometry of the site creates some challenges for design, especially with the grade change due to the roadway ramping up over the railroad. I think the architect did a wonderful job of creating a building footprint that allows for the appropriate parking, but also respects all of the side setbacks, rear setbacks, and front yard setbacks. You heard that the parking will be primarily below the deck. The entrance and exit to the parking lot is situated in a location so it won't conflict with the entrances and exits of any of the neighboring properties. The intersection is signalized, so I don't anticipate there will be any traffic problems at the site.
When you talk about the intersection, you're talking about Morris Avenue, Springfield Avenue, Old Springfield Avenue?
Yeah, once you exit our site, if you go to the intersection, it's signalized. There is a significant grade change from the developed portion of the site up to the roadway ramping over the railroad track. To make that transition, we're proposing a retaining wall The retaining wall is going to be clad in a similar material to the building. The retaining wall will be at its highest point 9 feet tall. We're proposing a fence that will run along the sidewalk paralleling Springfield Avenue. And we are also proposing, or will be proposing, a secondary fence which will be set along the top of the wall. This was mentioned in the engineer's report.
And I'm sorry to interrupt. When I was reciting for the board the number of variances, I overlooked the steep slope variance.
Yeah, there is a steep slope variance associated with that sloped area. I believe it's 4,020 square feet of steep slopes that will be disturbed. During construction, we will provide the appropriate soil erosion controls, and after construction, the area will be stabilized.
Now, you had mentioned in the retaining wall is 9 feet high,
Yes.
and you're putting a fence on top of it?
Yes, that additional fence will trigger another variance, which is the 10-foot wall and fence combination.
Thank you.
Which is another variance, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Currently, our landscaping plan proposes the removal of 20 trees and planting of 42 trees, along with of various species, along with several shrubs. However, we did note Mr. Linson's memo, and we understand that this site is the entrance to Summit. I believe the applicant will be retaining a landscape architect who will work with Mr. Linson to develop a suitable plan.
Yeah.
We talked briefly about the loading space. The loading space is undersized. It's not intended for use of delivery trucks per se. It has a temporary use intended, more for maybe a U-Haul from time to time as people might move in and out of the building. The required dimensions are 12 by 60. The proposed dimensions are 12 by 30. Again, because of the dimensions and the restrictions to the dimensional restrictions to the building, it's not possible to provide the required 6-foot landscape screening from the property line to the...
Is it 6 foot or 5 foot?
5 foot. So we're 2.5 feet, which really doesn't allow for the installation of screening.
Rather than 5?
Rather than 5, yes.
Yeah.
We are proposing arborvitae screening along the other portions of the northerly and westerly property lines, which are the abutting property line to the dry cleaners to the west and to the railroad to the north. We have sufficient space there, and we are proposing the screening. All of the proposed utility connections will be located within the bed of Old Springfield Road, and we don't anticipate any work within Springfield Avenue, so there shouldn't be any disruptions to traffic flow, with the possible exception of curb and sidewalk replacement. All construction vehicles, deliveries, and access will be off of Old Springfield. The applicant will make every attempt to keep the sidewalks open throughout construction, and when sidewalks cannot be open, then there'll be appropriate police at the site. We talked about the lighting. There's a few issues with that. The lighting in certain spaces does spill over the property lines. This occurs mainly at the location abutting the dry cleaner. So we're spilling over into a paved parking lot, which is illuminated. And also to the north of the site, where we're abutting the walkway to the train station, which is also illuminated.
What's the standard that is established in the ordinance for light spillage?
I believe it's 0.1.
0.1?
Yeah, 0.1.
And what are you proposing?
We have some 0.2, I believe, spilling over, and then we have some areas where it's not clear exactly what it is. It's zero, we don't have a spotlight at the property line itself, but it's in the area of 0.2-ish.
Well, okay, yeah. So for quantification of the deviation, Mr. Burgess knows where I'm going because we think on the same plane. We'll call it approximately a 0.2-foot candle at the property line, whereas 0.1 is the maximum permitted?
Yes, and all of these locations are locations where I feel lighting is probably encouraged, the paid parking and also a pedestrian walkway.
Right, but the approximately 0.2 will be sufficient if the application is granted to give you the deviation relief you find necessary, correct?
We can do that, yes.
Okay.
We talked about the height of the lighting. So we have a couple different areas. Within the parking deck itself, we would like the opportunity to mount the lights on the underside of the deck if we have that need, which would push the lighting well up over 8. Right now, it's
That's
shown
12.
at 10, but it could be up to 12.
What would be an alternative to that?
Well, we are currently showing wall-mounted lights within the deck, and they're at 10, so I can provide the correct lighting, but I think it would be wise to have the freedom to put alternate lighting at that height. We might be able to put in more lighting at a lower intensity to create a better illumination standard there.
Yeah. If I could recall Nick for the second with regard to the lighting in the parking area?
Sure.
So for the underside of the parking area itself, I don't know if anybody here has ever used the parking deck right by the train station near downtown. We probably have a system similar to that where they're prefabricated concrete T structures. So the lighting itself that's on the underside of the ceiling, you probably would not see the light source at all from street view. It would probably be shielded by the T's of those individual pieces of concrete that span from side to side. So. And again, I mean, we'd keep it at a level just low enough to really be safe for vehicles to be in that aisle. You know, it's not really for anything that needs to be any brighter than that.
Do you have some other ideas?
I mean,
What
we
else
looked
could you
at,
do to make it lower, to make it less of an impact? Because when you do look up at the parking structures, they don't look good. It's great for when you're in it, but when you're looking from anywhere else, it's not great.
yeah. I mean, one thing we could do right off the bat is just make sure it's a nice color temperature, right? We wouldn't have the really white 5,000 Kelvin
But
lights
you're
that
gonna have
you.
some posts, right?
We do have posts. The post mount lighting would be sufficient for the parking spots themselves. We'd have to see how well it illuminates when you get into the middle of the aisle area to get to the spaces. So,
You have the wall from the stair. But I see what you're saying. How far would it reach?
right.
And how wide is the parking deck?
Parking deck is 23, about 63
Two
square
bays
feet.
Plus the center aisle.
About
Probably
60,
about
63 square feet. We have the
What is it?
63 square
60 feet.
feet. Yeah.
And your lights go, how far? If they're at 9 feet or 8 feet?
It would depend on the specification. I mean, we don't want to have anything that's too bright and really could throw light that far, because then if you're walking at the street and you see those lights, it could be really intense. Just,
Right.
you know, it would make it bright enough for the cars, but it might be a little intense for passerbys.
I mean, I think it because of pedestrians, because it's a, apartment across the street, that is going to be a view shed for them.
Yeah.
And all the people walking to the train station, and it's, more residential than not over there. It warrants a lighting plan. So
Sure.
maybe we could do a condition that they work with Marie on a lighting plan
Mhm.
for that. Because
Yeah,
I think
that's
it could
fine.
be really bad or it could be really good. We
Yeah.
just don't know.
Yeah.
How's that sound?
Yeah. I think there were also, sorry?
Go ahead.
There were also some hot spots on the walkways. There's one
You want
spot
the
that's actually 9.1 foot candles in the back corner, kind of by the, I guess it's by the by the garbage area, somewhere in that area. And then on the front, you have something that's at 8.0, so we could probably work on that together.
Okay. Yeah, we'd be fine with that.
Similarly
as
to the
well.
landscape architect, you could do that? Okay.
Yeah.
I was also going to suggest,
Yeah.
I know we do this in other municipalities, 6 months after it's built, the engineer could take a look at it, and if things need to be adjusted, you adjust it accordingly.
That's always been good, yeah. I remember us doing that right in the same neighborhood, behind Caddy Corner.
Yeah, we could
in the parking
specify
lot back
fixtures
there.
that have the flexibility for that, so.
Yeah,
And
but I think working together might be great. You'll come
Yeah,
up
and
with
we
some
want it,
other-
I mean, we want it to look nice too. We don't want it to be overly bright at that
Right.
level. So we just want to provide enough for it to be safe to be driving under there. So
Sounds
we're
good.
happy to work with you on it.
Thanks.
And Mr. Weber, applicant's good with that as a step?
Yes.
Thank you.
We're done with lighting.
We're done with lighting.
So that brings me to stormwater management. Currently, there is no stormwater mitigation on the site. So what we're doing is we're proposing a dry well for this property that will collect in excess of the required 3 inches of runoff from the roof surfaces. We're also going to be collecting some water from the lawn areas, and that will be piped to a dry well, which will be underground, not visible from the street, and basically towards the intersection area. In addition to providing the dry well, the project actually does remove an additional net 2,500 square feet of impervious coverage. So there will be a significant decrease in runoff associated with this development. We will be providing required testing to the engineer, and any of the construction of the dry well would be done in accord with the New Jersey best management practices. I think that's briefly what I have for you. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
If I
Have-
can,
oh.
following up on the fire lane,
Oh,
is there
yes.
accessibility around the building, and could you describe it for the board?
Certainly, you can't drive a fire truck around this building. My experience with three-story townhomes of this nature, not more of a three-story row townhomes that you would see in a townhouse development, is that the fire department is very interested in having level areas around the building where they can stage a ladder. We do have that on all 4 sides of the building.
Can you, because there aren't very many dimensions on the drawings, can you blow that up and show us, not that one, actually, 3.7? And show us how there would be adequate fire safety access around this building as designed. Because of the steep slope and the bridge behind it, it just.
Yeah,
concerning.
sorry, this isn't my laptop, so I'm a little struggling. Yeah, can you? I'm sorry.
That's not this one, is it?
It's a haptic screen too, so you can shift. That might be the best way, so you can kind of go around.
All right.
So everything to the, as you're looking at the drawing to the left, which is the west side of the property, is level. Between the paved parking area to the building is generally level.
Level until the notch out in the back?
Yeah, the notch out in the back is the only area where it does have a little slope to it.
Okay.
Between the retaining wall and the building.
Basically the turnaround.
Right, where that's actually where the exterior parking is. So the parking itself would be level, which is outside of the building footprint there.
So when you're looking at, and I think you're looking at sheet 2 of 7, not 3 of 7.
I'm looking at 307, but yeah.
Let me try to get there.
I don't know if 3 of 7 has that shading, which highlights the fact that you can see where the building is. 2 of 7, if I may, Madam Chair,
Yeah.
has a gray area, a shading, that demonstrates the extent of the building. And then you have the 2 parking spaces with the turnaround beyond the scope of the building above.
Got it. Yeah, I can see it. Very light. Okay, got it. Anyway, so it's flat all the way to the corner? of
Yeah,
the-
it's
the-
flat enough that you could carry a ladder, set it up, and get up onto the
But can
building.
you get a fire truck in that loading area, 12-foot wide?
I can't imagine, no, it's actually too close to a building for ladder use. They wouldn't, if they wanted to put a ladder off their truck, they would put it in the neighboring parking lot.
But the use could change in the neighboring parking lot. It could become an as-of-right building.
And
just like
I'm just saying that the fire trucks generally won't go that close to a building that has an
Right.
issue.
Right.
Especially it's next to the cars, the
How
parking lot.
deep is this building, and can a fire truck spray water on a building this deep?
Certainly, yeah.
No?
They couldn't use ladders off of Old Springfield because of the downslope. They'd have to extend too far. But they could spray water off of that, or they'd be at an elevated area. They can certainly spray water off of Old Springfield, even if if they couldn't access.
But would that put out a fire in the back of the building?
Well, I mean, this building is sprinklered, so most likely, I won't speak to how they're going to fight the fire, but I don't envision a scenario where the building is engulfed with the sprinkler system on. I mean, they can enter the building if they like.
Can we ask the fire chief to just comment on it? 'Cause he
Yeah,
did-
I'm uncomfortable moving forward without the fire chief's comments.
I
I mean,
called him.
couldn't they just park the truck on Springfield Avenue and then get it from the back way?
And then just like shoot it up and.
Well, I mean, it's right there. It's not too far. Not that I'm a firefighter.
It's worth a discussion of people's comfort level with what's proposed.
He didn't make comments. so-
Yes.
Fire truck,
Sorry?
the fire chief didn't make comments.
No.
Yes, that's a problem.
No.
Sorry, got it.
But also, our witnesses can say, is this going to meet fire code? Can a fire truck
Reach.
reach where it needs to reach? They should be able to tell us
I
that.
think that we should have that information.
More information.
Yeah.
Agreed. I feel the same way.
We can certainly make it subject to asking the fire chief director, who did get a copy of the application and did not submit a report. So we can ask him to clarify whether or not he had any issues with this and make that a condition of approval.
Well, would
And then-
the condition include the approval being subject to the fire officials' comments with respect to adequate firefighting?
Yes.
Okay.
They would have
Not just
to.
asking them.
Right, because
But
if he says,
complying with
I
his-
need
what he
more
says.
room on the
Yeah.
loading dock side, then your building might have to shrink a couple feet, for example. That's
For
just an
example.
example. if that's what and you could still get 6 units, you could still do all your programming, but maybe if it doesn't have proper access for fire safety, we might have to make those changes. And you're comfortable with that condition? Is your applicant comfortable with that condition?
In other words, by having,
I mean, otherwise, I think a lot of us are not comfortable going forward, so,
what would happen, I think, if I could speak, is that there would be a deferral of the hearing tonight. The request would go to Chief Evers if he could now formulate a reply. His reply could be, I have no concerns, or... So, right now, he did not submit a report. We cannot assume as to what he meant by not submitting a report. And what the board is asking is, if we make the approval conditioned upon his report, that if he says, oh gee, I need to take a look at this closer, then the board, I think, would retain jurisdiction, and we'd come back into the board.
with modifications based on whatever he says, yeah. And
Well, subject-
To be fair to the chief, he always sends a report, so there must have been something unusual. Yeah,
A well-designed plan with plenty of room around it.
right. Okay, so how do we phrase that?
Well, there's different ways you could do it. If you're comfortable and the applicant's comfortable, they could stipulate to whatever he says in advance. It's sort of a blank check, if you will, to the fire official. Alternatively, we can make them come back another night.
That's what it
to
sounds like
finish.
you want to do, based on.
They're
The
both-
first one, have it stipulated to what the fire chief says. So
You're
if the
you're
fire
willing
chief
to
is
do
accept-
that? Okay.
If he's
So
acceptable
then the
of
board could
this-
actually grant approval tonight, subject to their complying with whatever the fire official requires.
Okay. But
Which
let's
would
say
mean that
it's-
we
it's-
wouldn't have time to review his report to
You-
see
you-
if there was anything
You'd be
we
deferring
saw.
to the fire official as
Yeah.
the expert.
Okay.
And if he requires it and they're willing to do it, if you're comfortable with that scenario, you can go ahead and approve it tonight. Or if you intend to approve it.
As a practical matter, that's great, and that's great for the applicant because he can go forward. I prefer that. But can I ask the architect something? As a practical matter, if he says there isn't enough room for me to get around this building and you have to shrink it, then we don't see that new design?
No, I think then they come,
they come
well, they either shrink their building or they have to come back and say, hey, we
So
want to
you-
modify that condition. We don't want to shrink it and the fire officials, or we have an alternative. We'll do this instead of shrinking the building.
And we
then
don't
I'll-
see that version.
No, then they would be coming back with whatever that alternative is. You would
Okay,
see, you
okay,
would be seeing.
Okay,
it.
okay, good.
If I can, I think if it was a significant alternative. So if it's less, if it's, I want you to put gravel in the back and something
that I
along
can
those
get-
lines, and
I can access.
then it's not significant at that point. However,
And
if
it's
it
not
turns out
flammable.
we're moving everything and really creating a true fire lane and ending up with
If
a,
it results in a change to the size of the structure, that's probably significant enough
To come back.
Right, if it's gravel or if it's some other form of
Landscape.
stabilizing, so they can get ladders up, that's
Okay,
de minimis, right?
all right. Does
And that would just be
can you
subject to
write
the
that up?
engineer.
Okay.
But just a question on that.
Yeah.
Is the fact that Springfield Avenue, not Old Springfield Avenue, but the elevated portion is adjacent to the structure and in some places is pretty close to the roof line, is that part of your thinking about the fire mitigation strategy? Is it that fire truck could just be there on Springfield Avenue, which is next to the building?
it could.
Yeah, is that part of your thinking? I don't know.
Before I was a lawyer, I was a paramedic in the city of Elizabeth, and I've been at any number of fire scenes. And the one thing that has always impressed me is that if there's a fire, the firemen get to it. They don't care what's in the way, they're gonna get there, they're gonna put it out. So, but at this point, the board is, is raised a good point. Let's make sure that the fire chief is satisfied with this. And
Okay.
that may be, they could probably put a pumper up on top of the bridge and put water down that way, so.
Okay, good, thank
And
you.
the second floor, just to reiterate, it's kind of about at the same level as Springfield Avenue.
In the back.
So they wouldn't
So
really
they- It
be,
would be higher than.
yeah, they
okay.
wouldn't necessarily be pumping down, because down is just the open parking level at that point, so
'Cause
we're, yeah.
The tallest part of the parapet, not the elevator and the stair bulkhead is what?
From what elevation? Like from which street
From
level?
the front on Old Springfield to
Mm-hmm.
the front of the parapet, how tall is that?
42 feet.
And that's to code. That's
That's to
not a
ordinance.
variance.
Right, right.
And then your appurtenances, you got a certain amount
Mm-hmm.
that's allowable. How tall is that?
They are under the 8-foot limit. The highest one is at 49.5 feet.
So they're maxing it.
Right.
So, yeah, it wouldn't be pumping down, it would be shooting up water.
Well, I'm thinking if it's on Springfield, it's gonna sort of go, because it has to go up and over.
Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah. I mean, I think with a sprinkler system in place and access on both sides, with Springfield and Old Springfield, I mean, I'm not a fire official, but,
Me
I
neither.
think it's probably okay.
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I have two questions,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure who gets the first one. The first one is environmental. I'm assuming since it was a car repair plus, are there any recs? I'm assuming there was a phase 1. Is there a phase 2 in place? Are there any recs?
It was.
The condition set forth by Ms. Raffay makes it clear that the DEP has jurisdiction over the environmental state of the site. So there are monitoring wells on the site.
Okay. so-
And as a result, we have to get DEP approval.
Okay. And the second one, I'm not sure if it's for you, Joe, or for them. During construction, will New Jersey Transit have any involvement or any, I'm assuming if you're putting up stuff right near to their track, they need to know. And I'm just wondering, for commuters, is there any reason that they would have to stop trains for a moment to do something?
I know a little
If I
about
can-
that, Joe, if you don't.
I really don't know the answer. I can tell you, I've been involved in a number of projects adjacent to rail lines, and I've never seen where they were allowed to, intrude into the railroad right-of-way.
Well, I don't mean permanent. I mean, while they're building
No, but
something,
even
they
while
need to.
constructing,
What's the
they've never
setback
been-
from, what's your construction
they've
setback
never
from
been
the rail
allowed
line?
to enter that.
What's the closest
railroad
spot?
right-of-way.
We had looked at this in the initial discussions, and we were satisfied that we're beyond the New Jersey Transit property.
Right.
But we're within 200 feet. So I'm looking now, if you can, Bill?
I think
You
the
have a
engineer
200
should
foot
know let the engineer answer. I think his retaining wall is 10 feet from the property line, which is 10 feet from New Jersey Transit, right? No? 10 feet? Or is that 10 feet to your retaining wall and there's a little more to New Jersey Transit? Word to the wise, you want to be 15 feet, because if you are, this is what I remember, and you should double check, but if you're within 15 feet of their property line, not up to their property line, you need a flagman, you need so many people involved. Stay 15 feet away from the property line. But what is your construction?
Well, we have Lot 4 between us and the railroad right-of-way, where the tracks would be. Lot 4 is where that pedestrian walkway comes through.
Can you expand it a bit for the board?
Just where does your work end and where does New Jersey Transit start?
We have some minor grading about 6 feet off of our rear property line.
And how close is that to New Jersey Transit, to answer Ms. Bowen's question?
Uh,
Can you help them expand it?
Yeah, I'm trying to get to the,
Because Lot 4, how
Lot
wide is
4
Lot 4?
How wide is Lot 4?
I would say to the property line of New Jersey Transit where the actual train tracks would run is
Right.
probably, we're 25 feet, give or take.
Their right-of-way is where you need to be
Yeah.
measuring to.
Well,
But it sounds like you're well over 15 feet, which is good for you.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And
Yeah,
it's a
once you get
nightmare.
within 15 feet of their property line, it's a whole nother level of effort and safety.
So just to be clear, the engineer's testimony is there's at least 25 feet between the New Jersey Transit right-of-way and where you will be constructing, including the minor grading 6 feet off the property line? There's at least 25 feet, is that your testimony?
Can you scale? Do you have a scale that you can
Yeah,
see
use
how
that
wide
instead.
Lot
That'll
4
be
is?
easier than trying to use the computer.
Hold on.
No, but it's not.
We're checking that there's a Lot 4 that is between the line and the property, and I'm taking a look to see who owns Lot 4.
Little sliver of property between the railroad track
What's the block?
798. No, it's just a sliver. Its address is actually Springfield Avenue, but it's where the bridge is. It's like a weird splinter.
1606, Lot 4 is owned by New Jersey Transit Corp. So that's, you're going to be with the flagman, it looks like. Because Lot 4 is recognized as the stairwell down, right?
Lot 4 is owned by New Jersey Transit. It's not the lot which contains the tracks, but it is their walkway.
So it sounds as though it's going to be something that New Jersey Transit will have an opportunity to be heard. They were given notice.
Or you may want to modify your parking lot. Isn't that where you're talking about? Where your parking lot is?
It very well may be. So we'll communicate with New Jersey Transit at the time that, if the board approves the application, at the time that the construction is commencing, there will be that opportunity to have the pre-construction meeting. And I expect at that point that the construction official, the city engineer will all be raising the issues. Did you do this? Did you comply with that? And as a result, that will be addressed, and there will be a reach out to New Jersey Transit.
Your choice. Okay. Anything else? Marie, do you have anything to say about this?
I have some engineering questions, sure, that I just want to clarify. Thank you. You went through a lot of my information on there. You are combining these lots as part of this application, right?
Yes.
So you'll be submitting that to the county with a lot line adjustment?
Yeah, I guess it would be a subdivision or a combination by deed.
Okay. So you'll work with the tax office to find out what the number's going to be on it, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
That'll be a deed of consolidation.
Yep.
Will you be placing a stop sign or a stop bar at the
you
exit?
had a stop sign and stop bar and the additional ADA signage that you had mentioned.
Great,
Yes.
thank you. I did look over the stormwater design, and I'm satisfied with the stormwater design, just to make sure that you're going to be, you have enough volume for any surface runoff. for
Yes,
the
we'll
yard
do that.
inlets. Great.
Are you worried about getting a soil test, just to make sure it works?
Yes, right, and I think he did mention that he would be getting a soil test, and that's required to make sure that it's going to function. And that, he knows where the seasonal high water table is, so that'll all come in with his soil test.
Can you explain, just for the benefit of the public, if that doesn't come out favorable, it's all clay and it doesn't percolate, what do you do?
Well, he'd either have to modify his design, or he'd have to maybe find some other way of managing the water on site, maybe some rain gardens or some other kind of system.
So when that test comes in, you're in consultation with them to come up with a new plan,
Right.
if need be? Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, we did design the site directly across the street with a large infiltration basin, and the soils at that point were very infiltrative. So.
Okay, good.
Okay. Can you make sure that you put some site triangles at the exit, and make sure that there's no landscaping that will be encroaching onto those site triangles?
Yes, we'll get the site triangles onto our site plan, and then we'll coordinate that with the landscape architect.
Could you talk about the sidewalks, the driveway aprons? Right now, they're in disrepair, but the plans are not showing for anything to be replaced. Is there any plans to do anything about that, to modify any of the curb cuts that are on there?
Well, the curb cuts on our property that are not used would be restored to full height. The sidewalk, I would imagine, will be fully replaced. It's in pretty sad, status now, and following construction, I imagine it's going to be worse. And typically, that's done at the direction of the city engineer. The county, in their review letters, had asked us to replace the curb and sidewalk along there right away.
And that's on Springfield Avenue, correct? That's the,
Yes, and I guess it would come around partially through the signalized intersection as well.
okay. And have you gotten any will serve letters for the water and sewer on site? Or is that part of your post-application?
I don't believe we have any letters yet.
Okay. So that'll just be part of what you do?
Yes.
Conditions subsequent to approval, should the board so grant approval.
Correct. That's all I had. Thank you.
I have one other question that I forgot to ask. What is the appearance of the fence that's going to be on, and the appearance of the retaining wall?
The fence is going to, well, I am proposing a black metal fence, open, thin spigots. What's the name of the company?
Do you have a cut sheet with of
Jareth?
it, or a photo
Yeah, I
of
think
it?
it's like a Jareth Regency fence. They have like a commercial grade of that. I don't have that for you right here, but we can provide that.
Okay. To whom, and who could approve that? Joe, would you
Yeah, we
be?
can do that.
Okay,
That'd be another condition.
yeah. And if he doesn't think it's acceptable, then you have to come up with another fence.
Of course, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. And what's the wall cladding or wall material?
It's
You said it's gonna look like the building, it's gonna be a brick
clad in stone.
wall?
correct?
Yeah,
Brick?
we would clad the actual
Great,
structural part of the wall with brick veneer that matches the building.
that's good. Okay. Are we good? Oh, yes, Mr.
Yes.
Capoli.
I understand that the DEP will have new requirements that take effect around July. Some of those are still contested a bit. Are you aware of those changing regulations? And do you believe that you're in good position to meet them?
I'm not aware of the new regulations, so it's hard for me to opine. The LSRP is confident that this will meet the approval, but that's a good point, and we'll have to wait to see what the conditions come out from the DEP.
Including, particularly stormwater related.
Which reminds me, in your review, the letter says that you want the soil test, but then you say that there should not be any site disturbance, excavation, soil movement before or consistent with applicable NJ DEP requirements.
Oh, because of the contamination.
Oh,
potential.
right.
Yeah, so the soil test is not going to be in the area with the monitoring wells.
Right. So I think you're okay. Okay. So if I could, I think what you're discussing is the stormwater DEP regulations that are changing, and those are for major developments, but this isn't a major development. So I think they're okay. And on top of that, they would have already been approved and through the process, and they would have been protected from that additional rule.
Okay. Good. Okay. Everybody finished? Okay. So.
Thank you.
Are you guys happy? All right. Do you have any questions? Do you have any questions? Does the public have any questions for this witness? Okay, or any other witness?
No further witnesses.
I thought so. Thank you. So I think we're closed. Are we finished?
I submit the application to the approval of the board.
Thank you. All right, so we can discuss amongst ourselves. We have a lot of conditions.
Do you want me to tee up what I have as the relief and the conditions and to facilitate
Do you want to ask a few
deliberations?
questions before Mr. Warner does that, or discuss anything, or any feelings, any concerns that you want to discuss? This is our moment we can discuss amongst ourselves, because it's closed hearing now. You look like
I'm
you have a question.
concerned about the one affordable housing unit, and my opinion is that we should do everything we can to require it to be built.
I agree.
Whatever, because I
That's what we
think there's
just
a
did this
slippery
whole
slope
housing element
there.
for.
Yeah, I think there's a slippery slope there that allows it, any developer to come in and say, you know,
I think Joe's right, though. I don't think it's allowed, but I'm not.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if the new set of regulations changes
agree.
that
I think
issue.
differently
The
without
mandatory
people.
set-aside, the previous mandatory set-aside regulations are pretty straightforward. I'd be surprised I'm going to find that that's changed.
Okay,
I mean, I feel like, look, it's taking somewhat of an eyesore in town. It looks beautiful. I think it fits the character of Summit. It's not from a Summit perspective, right? I know there's the new Providence train station right there, but from a Summit perspective, it's not going to contribute schools heavily, traffic, so forth and so on. But I think I would feel differently without the affordable housing unit, especially after everything that we just went through over the last 18 months.
right, right. We're trying to incorporate the housing units into existing, new developments. So that's the goal. I agree with both of you, if there's a way to,
But I'm also happy to let the governing body decide that, because I think we
they,
all know what needs to be.
they're welcome to do that, but I'd like to
Yeah,
approve it with the unit and let them,
yep.
yeah, agreed. PJ, do you have anything to say?
I mean, I'm a little bit concerned by the overall scale of the building, just because, and again, I like it for the town, I like it for the site. You know, I appreciate that the overall lot coverage is lower because of the variance that they're applying for. It just feels a little bit kind of impactful, but again, compared to what we have right now, I also think it's a net positive, but, I don't know why, unbuildable land in this corner really is, an additional third more square footage to be able to be
Right.
commercial viable. But it also has to make sense financially, we understand that, and that'd be my concern.
Yeah, that's what makes it a little tight all the way around.
Right, and the
is
fire
that they're
chief and
going
all-
for, just remind everybody, because Mr. Weber's really good at describing things the way he does. It's a third larger. 10,000 square feet's allowed. They're doing 15,000 square feet. So that is quite a bit bigger than what's allowable. So that's a big variance. And that's why it feels a little tight on the lot, like PJ said. On the other hand, I think that it is a net positive overall from what's there. It's all impervious cover right now. There are positives and negatives to it all. I think it comes down to the fire chief for me, because it is bigger and it is as maxed out as it possibly can be, I think, on this site. So to me, it looks like it might be tough to fight a fire on the site the way it's designed. But if he finds that it's okay and he can fight a fire, and then I can get comfortable with it, especially with all the conditions we've put in there. So shall we go through the conditions, Mr. Warner?
If I think it'd be prudent to go through the relief and the conditions to make sure we have all
Okay.
the relief correct
Okay.
and agreed to in that order. And I apologize, but maybe, if I may, can Mr. Burgess, we have something called building area here, and that's technically different from floor area ratio,
Yes.
which, as we all know, would require a D4, D4? Yeah, D4 variance from the zoning board of adjustment if it were a floor area ratio deviation. So could you just briefly explain the distinction between building area and floor area for that ratio, for that purpose?
Well, floor area ratio is actually defined in the municipal land use law, and it's specifically just the ratio of lot size, or floor space to lot size. So if you have an FAR of 25%, and you have a 40,000 square foot lot, you'd be allowed 10,000 square feet of building area, just to give you a sense of it.
It's not just out, but it's also up.
Yes. Building area is just the amount of floor space you're entitled to in a building. Now, in the zone, you can't have more than one building on a site. So theoretically, they could have broken this up into two buildings, maybe not gotten their 14,800 square feet, but something close to that anyway. Now, I know those who have been on the board for a while, they've often heard me talk about how in the end, planning is a balance of competing interests. And I think some of you have already touched upon that we've got a site that's been looking like the way it has for many, many years, hasn't offered much in the way of any amenity to the community or any positive feature to the community. And I think you can balance that against all the positive things that you've all started to discuss and comment upon earlier tonight. So when you look at it in that context, when you look at it in that context, I think you could come to your own conclusion as to the public benefits that may accrue from here, irrespective of the large number of variances that are being requested, which we'll get into in a moment. And, some of the other issues that we talked about. Probably critically is the issue of affordable housing, because if this building were to be required to be shrunk to the 10,000 square foot size, you'd probably lose two units. And at 4 units, they wouldn't be providing any affordable unit on the property.
The mandatory set-aside ordinance requires 5 or more total units, correct?
Correct. So that, after all that we went through, as Mr. Starr pointed out, over the past 18 months, I think that's a critical element to consider. In terms of the variances that are required, it's my understanding that there's, and they're spelled out on page 5 and 6 of my memo, to make it simple.
Oh, I have my handwritten notes. Go ahead, I'll check you.
Okay. Maximum building area is 1. Maximum building.
Right, building area 14,798 square feet versus 10,000 square feet maximum.
Correct.
And everybody now understands why building area is not floor area ratio, so that's why we have it as a planning board, as it's a bulk variance, not a D variance that would have required this whole application to go to the zoning board.
Duly correct. Thank you.
So, go ahead, I'm sorry, Mr.
Maximum building coverage, the code permits 30%, they're at 36%.
It's at 30%
The
now.
testimony related, suggested that in large measure, that variance is a function of the terraces being provided on the site. The maximum illumination at property lines, there's a slight overage, you're allowed 0.1%, they're at 0.2 in certain instances, and you heard where the overage is in terms of adjoining parking lot for the most part. I could say visually speaking, I don't know that, well, a lot of us are wearing glasses, I see on the board, but I don't know that anyone would recognize the difference between 0.1 and 0.2 in terms of actual impact on a property. In terms of the lighting height, you heard in large measure it's a function of the slightly higher than average height of the first floor. In terms of an aesthetic enhancement, if you accept the argument that they made, that having that additional height necessitates having the lights on the wall a little higher.
The deviation is 10 feet tall versus a maximum of 8 feet tall.
They
The
said
load-
actually 12 feet underneath the ceiling, so.
There's the loading setback variance. You're technically allowed, or required to have 5 feet. They have 2.5 feet on that one side. And then there's the loading space dimension. The code technically requires for loading spaces everywhere, whether it's an industrial zone or a retail commercial area, 12 by 60. That's designed to accommodate tractor trailers. Buildings of this type don't need 12 by 60. 12 by 30 can accommodate most conventionally sized U-Hauls that would likely serve this building. So I think you could factor that in. The roof pitch, the code requires a 4/12. And I think, knowing the area, I'm sure everybody does, most of the buildings in the area do not have that. The master plan does talk about trying to create structures that are compatible and complementary to the established character of the developed area. And I think this sloped pitch is more consistent with what's in the neighborhood. And then there's the steep slope disturbance issue. We have 15% disturbance. You're allowed up to 1,000 square feet. They're at 4,000 square feet. But it wasn't mentioned in the testimony, but in the documentation that was filed, they did point out that this is really a function of man-made slopes.
Right.
And it was an existing condition.
From the road,
So you could factor that in. I think that covered the variance relief.
And I think there may be, correct me if I'm wrong, an RSIS waiver for a 23-foot wide, de minimis exception, for a 23-foot wide drive aisle. I believe the minimum required is 24 feet, is that correct?
Correct.
Thank you. So that technically would be added to the deviations.
And one more,
Oh, thank you, sir.
the fence on top of the retaining wall.
Yes.
Fence on top of retaining wall. Okay, so that, so we had a retaining wall. I guess we didn't have a retaining wall. Okay, on top of retaining wall. And so the total height would be,
You're permitted 10 feet, and this will be 9 plus 4.
so 13 versus 10.
And the 2.5 side yard in the loading dock area versus 5, did you say that?
Oh, yeah, he said that one.
You did
That's the
that?
loading
Okay,
area,
okay.
yep, setback.
I'm looking back at my.
So we have 9 variances and 1 RSIS waiver. And then I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, it really wasn't touched upon in testimony, but in terms of the negative criteria, it's a two-pronged test. You have to show there's no substantial detriment to the public good and no substantial impairment to the intent of the master plan. In our memo, we identify a whole host of goals and objectives that are being furthered by this application in terms of providing a variety of housing types, addressing affordable housing need, and encouraging enhanced character and aesthetic appeal to a site. I don't think anybody would disagree with the fact that this is an improvement over the existing condition. There are other goals and objectives which he also highlighted, but I don't have to go into that in detail. And I think the other prong of the negative criteria, that had been addressed through testimony.
Thank you, Joe.
So that's the relief sought. The conditions of approval are all those, because they stipulated to them as set forth in the various reports of the board professionals and staff. They'll do a lot consolidation. They'll do a soil conservation district application. They will provide, I suspect the board is going to require the provision of 1 unit designated and deed restricted for affordable housing, and leave it at that.
Yeah.
You'll correct me if I'm wrong, if there's an approval. And if I'm wrong on that condition, in addition, the other stipulated 2 conditions included landscaping subject to the review and approval, landscaping plan subject to review and approval of the forester. The mechanical screening will be subject to a sightline study. There will be 1 course of stone bulkhead across the front of the first floor. There'll be an alternate, bear with me, screen design. Alternate finished wall screen design to screen cars and lights on the ground floor. That was I think that was the enclosure, or the fencing, the screening.
The screening.
It would be denser.
Who would that be subject to
I
review?
think Joe should look at that because he's doing the
Okay.
fence as well.
Thank you.
Review and approval of the planner, compliance with building design standards, architectural standards. There will be, subject to increased screening studies, bear with me, got that one already. No sound amplification was stipulated to, as well as no e-bike storage in the
building.
basement, which would actually really be the building in its entirety.
Did you get the EV charging?
The EV chargers,
never
I
talked
think
about
are on the plan, but there'll be a condition of approval as well. Lighting plan subject to the review and approval of our engineer, including, I think I heard a subsequent light study and appropriate modifications if necessary.
Yes.
Post-construction. Also subject to review and approval of our fire official and compliance with his conditions and modifications for adequate firefighting. There will be a stop sign, bless you, stop sign and/or stop bar at an ADA, even I can't read my own writing, ADA something. The ADA.
Compliance.
Yeah,
Isn't there a stop sign at the entrance?
yeah, ADA something.
You had said that.
Jeez, I can't even read it. I'll come back to that. I have the lot consolidation. I have the site triangles at the exit with no landscaping encroaching. Sidewalks and driveway aprons will be fully
Is
replaced.
that the parking? Is this where the apartments will have,
ADA,
is that what that is?
no, I don't know what it was, but I'm going to remember it. And the appearance of the fence will be, while it's proposed to be a
Reviewed by
black
Jim.
metal fence and open, it'll be subject to review and approval of
Joe.
our planner. And the appearance of the retaining wall is proposed to be, and apparently sufficient, a brick veneer to match the building. And there was an ADA ramp?
I feel like it was the stop sign and the line, and he said that the sign for ADA would be.
ADA signage?
Yeah.
ADA signage, that's, I couldn't read. ADA signage, I'm sorry.
Which is standard.
The only-
Am I missing any? And again, I included in my reference, by incorporation, all the comments set forth in the various reports.
Yeah, but the architect has said that, and correct me if I'm wrong, that he'll turn the stairway inside the parking lot so it doesn't lead directly out into its driveway aisle.
Oh, that was in
Yes.
the notes, yeah. I don't know if you were gonna change it though, were you?
We're going to look into
I'm sorry, you're going to have to come up because.
Yeah.
We've already started looking at that since we received the staff comments on how to make that door just exit onto a landing rather than onto the 23-foot aisle. So we're comfortable putting that in as a condition.
Okay. So the staircase will phrase it for me.
The egress stair will not exit directly onto the aisle in the parking area.
Nobody
Okay, and it'll be up, but rather to a landing. Okay,
got it.
got it.
Great.
Okay, any other conditions of approval? Anyone? Ferris Bueller? Anyone? No? So then if it is an approval, it'll be a majority of the planning board approving the relief we set forth, I'll assume with all the stipulated two conditions, unless I'm told otherwise. If it's a denial, all denials are unconditional.
Right. So, do we have a motion to approve with all these conditions, including the
moved.
chief's?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second?
I think we got two motions. You gonna go second? Okay.
Okay, I just want to check. The motion was Mr. Sala, the second was Mr. Smith. Ms. Bowen?
Yes.
Councilmember Crisafulli?
Yes.
Ms. Morrison?
Yes.
Mr. Sala?
Yes.
Mr. Stern?
Yes.
Mr. Golden?
Yes.
Chair Balsan Alvarez?
Yes.
Oh, that's right. We have a recusal. That's right, 7, yep.
Okay.
It's all approved, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Do you want to take a break? 5-minute break. Back in session. Okay. Got a good order.
If I could just introduce Mr. Rosen?
Actually, before we do, should we call the case?
Yeah. Yeah.
On the record? Okay. If I could just reflect for the benefit of everyone, that I had an opportunity to review the affidavit of proof of service and publication of notice. I found the content of the notice to be sufficient for this matter, and I found it to be timely served certified mail on February 26th, published both on March 3rd and March 9th in the Star Ledger and the Union News Daily respectively. And we have confirmation of not only the certified mailings, but there was a affidavit on the record confirming that the neighbor at 65 Essex Road personally delivered notice to the 200-foot neighbor at 62 Essex Road. So based upon all of the above, I can opine that the board does have jurisdiction to hear and decide the application. With the chair's permission, I can swear in all the witnesses and our board professionals.
You have my
We have them
permission.
all. Two applicants' witnesses and two board professionals. If you'll all raise your right hand, do all of you swear to God or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
You all. Back to you, Madam Chair.
Okay, welcome. Who are we going to have first, Mr. Weber?
1 minute.
Okay.
James Weber of Alfonso and Weber on behalf of Summit Grove LLC and Forest Sounds LLC. This is a lot line relocation, and I would ask that Dave Rosen be called to the stand to be sworn in to give testimony on this matter.
Already sworn. Please proceed. With the chair's permission.
Yeah. Hello, welcome.
Do you want any information on me?
No.
He's testifying as a fact witness, correct?
He's an architect.
I'm an
I
architect.
know that, but I thought you said, I think he owns the property.
He does
I
not
do
own the
not.
property.
Oh,
no.
my mistake.
It's, again, owned by Forest Sounds LLC and Summit Grove LLC.
Gotcha.
The owner, Mark, is in the back.
Different, okay, great. So you're testifying as an architect?
I'm testifying as an architect. We have the engineer, Peter Korzen, here as well.
So I think, we'll leave it to your counsel to get you accepted, so that the chair could accept you as an expert in the field of architecture.
Okay.
How long have you been an architect, and have you testified before any municipal agencies in the city of Summit?
Yes, I have. My name is Dave Rosen, R-O-S-E-N. I'm a partner at Rosen Kelly Conway Architects, and we are in Summit. I was licensed graduated in 1980, Syracuse University School of Architecture, licensed in 1983, started what has become Rosen Kelly Conway in 40 years ago in 1986 in Summit, and we're still here. And I'm good with my license and all of that. I have testified before a lot of boards, just to keep it sort of local. Just I'll say Summit, Chatham Borough, Chatham Township, Millburn, and I could go on, but I like being here best in Summit. This board I don't see very often, but we do a lot with the Board of Adjustment.
Well, this is broadcast to all those other municipalities as well, so they know that too.
Well, they're learning how to do it, learning how to do it right.
But I think the chair will
Welcome.
accept.
Thank you.
We accept.
Okay, so this is a really simple application. It is a lot line relocation where the two properties, 6,000 square feet is being moved from one property to the other. They are owned by two LLCs, as Jim mentioned, but I'm not going to call them by that. One is on Hobart Road, that's Forest Sounds LLC. The other one is on Dogwood, on the corner of Essex Road, and that one is called Summit Grove LLC. 34 Dogwood is a property that's, I'm going to say the big number first, and then I'll just round it off. But it's 40,479 square feet. 6,000 square feet is being removed, so we end up at 34,479 square feet. That 6,000 square feet is being moved from the backyard of 34 Dogwood to 22 Hobart Road, which is currently 24,635 square feet, and with that 6,000 square feet, it goes to 30,635. It is just a straight, taking the 6,000 square feet, it's exactly 6,000, and moving it over. The properties are adjacent. You can see in the center of the drawing here, there's Pete Korzen's drawing, and I'm just going to come in a little bit. on the, whoops. I'm just going to come in a little bit on the site plan. So you can see Dogwood Drive is on the angle. The vertical on the right of the plan here is Essex Road. So Dogwood comes down, and then it turns the corner, and then Hobart Road is the little piece that goes between that and Hobart Avenue, sort of near the Arboretum. And in fact, the Arboretum is the property that is directly behind where these two meet. So where it says site on the plan there, that's in the area. That's right in the area that is the 6,000 square feet that gets moved. Most of what I'm going to do is just go through the two reports and just address all of the questions or the areas where it says the applicant shall confirm or testify and so on. I just wanted to mention two items that are currently non-conforming, and that is that the property on Hobart Road is slightly undersized. It's supposed to be 25,000 square feet, and it's just a bit under that. It's roughly 24 and a half. With the transfer, that becomes a compliant lot because it'll be 30,000 square feet and change. And not only is the property a little bit smaller, but it's also slightly over on lot coverage. The limit in the R25 zone for lot coverage is 30%, and this is 30.67. With the transfer of the property, it becomes a lot coverage of 24.66. So it's well into conformance.
Would you just touch upon the fact that because there's a subdivision here, the opinion of the planner is that this has created a lot area variance because you have an average. And I'm not sure that the board members have heard the lot area averaging. So if you just walk through that.
Right, so in every block, and block is used loosely because it may not be bounded by 4 streets. Some blocks are very long, and so they may be divided in half. But in any case, the block, you take all the properties, all the area, divide it, and you also get an average, so that there's not only a minimum size of 25,000 square feet for both of these properties, but there's also an average lot area in this block of 37,534. Now, the two properties together right now are roughly 65,000 square feet. You can't get two 37,000 square foot lots out of this. So we're not bringing in any new area into the equation. We're just moving 6,000 from one to the other. Both are conforming to the usual requirement of 25,000 square feet, but they can't both meet the requirement of 37,000 and change. So that's the variance. Otherwise, they're bringing, the one that's bigger is still bigger, but I was going to say it's a smaller bigger. It's, the two are moving towards more equally balanced, and that's part of the objective here. The purpose for it is in order to get the 22 Hobart Road property to be a little bit bigger to allow more play space in the backyard for the young kids of the owner. So I'm going to go through a whole series of the comments, first on the Burgess report, and then I'll go into the engineering. First, I just want to see if there are any questions in sort of the basic scope of what we're doing here.
Actually, Madam Chair, if I could ask Mr. Burgess a question or two?
Sure.
Just for clarity on the variance at issue, to make sure I understand. With respect to the neighborhood average lot area, as I understand it, the 37,534 square foot goal. We have 34 dogwood in excess of that currently, but it would be rendered below that 37,534 average. So therefore, it's your opinion that that lot, at least, by virtue of going from over 37,000 to under 37,000 approximately, requires a variance from the neighborhood average lot area. Is that correct?
Yes. that's
Okay, and I
correct.
take it then it's implied that, in your opinion, that the neighborhood average lot area applies not only to newly created lots, but to newly created lots created by subdivision, i.e., or lot line adjustment, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so the lot line adjustment makes this a newly created, makes both of them newly created lots for that purpose, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then is it also your opinion then that the 22 Hobart lot, which is going from 24,635 square feet to 30,635 square feet, it's increasing, it's already below the neighborhood
But it's still not.
lot average, it's getting closer to it, but it's still not reaching or exceeding it.
But it's
Is it
getting
your
closer
opinion
to-
22 Hobart also needs a variance from the neighborhood average lot area, or no, because that's a pre-existing nonconformity?
No, I believe they need the relief, but there has to be a recognition they're getting closer to conformance.
Okay. So you have it as two variances, correct? Okay, and those are the only two variances?
Yes.
Thank you for allowing me that clarification so that we have an accurate resolution, and even more importantly, everybody knows what the relief being sought is before we get too far into the application, and why.
Thank you.
So, okay.
Thank you. And I just wanted to add to that, that there are two existing variances that are being removed. And they're-
Eliminated nonconformities, yep.
Right, right. The lot size of the smaller property, the 22 Hobart Road, and the lot coverage, which is a bit in excess.
Which presumably will be part of your benefits substantially outweighing the detriments arguments going
Yeah,
forward.
it's unusual to be able to, well, there are a few things that are unusual here, but getting rid of two nonconformities without building anything or removing anything is pretty unusual. The other thing that's unusual is that years ago, they used to ask, whenever we came for a variance at the Summit Zoning Board of Adjustment, they would ask, have you spoken with your neighbors to see if they might be willing to sell property? And the answer was usually that we tried, but almost never could you get that. So what I realized is you have to have the same owner on both properties, and then it's a lot easier to get an agreement. Because most of the time, people don't want to sell their property. Okay, just going through in the general comments, the applicant shall confirm the extent of any proposed improvements and intended purpose for the subdivision. And the intended purpose is to provide more play space for the kids, possibly some reconfiguration of a patio, those kinds of things. We are currently doing a project to finish an attic at this property at 22 Hobart Road, and with a dormer. That has no impact. There are no variances for that. All of that is allowable. So there is some activity on the property, but we don't have,
One.
it's a separate thing. That's
But it's only on the Hobart property.
correct.
Yeah.
Right, and it's totally conforming. But I just want to say that there are other things that are happening, but we don't have any specific intent or purpose other than maybe reconfiguring a few of the things. And I'll mention also that there is currently a fence at the border between the two properties, and there's some landscaping along there. Those will be modified. The fence will be moved to the new property line. Depending on which side of the property line the fence is on now, it will stay on the same property. So it'll stay on the same side, but repositioned. Other than that, and other minor aspects of landscaping where around the 22 Hobart, where the property line is now, the evidence of that will sort of be mostly eliminated, and landscaping will move to be the periphery of the new property. I addressed item 2, noting that the impervious lot coverage, which is non-conforming, will be reduced from 30.67 to 24.66. Then there was a question about in item 4, about whether the existing basement counts in FAR. It does not, and I have there are a couple of, we went through the drawings, we went through the drawings on Hobart and submitted all of that in order to show that the floor area ratio for both houses are fine now and going forward. Then sort of finishing up, there was a question about the public benefits, and I agree that it's a C2 variance where it will advance the intent and purposes of the municipal land use law and also the Summit Ordinance and Master Plan. And one of the main ways it's doing that is what I mentioned in the beginning, where the property size of the smaller property will become conforming, and the lot coverage on that same property, the Hobart Road, that will also be conforming, which is the intent of the ordinance, to have properties that are conforming. With regard to the negative criteria, the variance can be granted without substantial detriment to the public good, mainly because nobody's going to see this. It's not prompting any other major actions on either of the sites, and that the granting of relief will not substantially impair the intent and purpose of the master plan and zoning ordinance, which is what I just mentioned. Okay, I'm going to skip the other staff comments. Mostly consist of the words "no objections." John Linson mentions that no trees need to be removed in order to have this lot line, so he fleshed it out a little bit more, but then no objections. Okay, so on the Collier's report, number 7, they indicate realign the common lot line to balance the respective lot areas. We agree on that. Number 12, the submission indicates that the proposed lot line relocation will eliminate, again, the same thing about the existing nonconformities. Number 13, the subdivision plan also depicts a proposed right-of-way dedication noted as an 8-foot wide dedication area. This is Hobart. This is about Hobart Road. I'm just going to come back to this drawing. Just a second here. So here, I can come out a bit, but this is Dogwood Drive coming up from the bottom, and then it turns sharp left to become Hobart Road. Hobart Road has a 16-foot right-of-way. There was some clarification wanted with regard to that space, because in many older properties and in many communities, originally the deed had the lot go to the center of the street, and the right-of-way was actually the right of somebody to be able to pass along that area. That's the way it was done, and so many of the older surveys have that, and newer surveys reference that old way of doing it. That's, at some point, all the municipalities around here claimed that property, and it's no longer personal property, it's municipal property. So all of the statistics I've given you are based on not counting the street, not counting Hobart Road. And if anything needs to be done, if the deed or the whatever, if something is not consistent, we'll make that consistent, and that will be appropriately filed with the county and the city, whoever needs to see that. Number 14, as I mentioned, the purpose of this is a lot line adjustment, and we're not planning new site improvements, grading, or disturbance in conjunction with this. Now, something may happen in the future, and I mentioned maybe reconfiguring of the patio, some landscape changes, and there could be other things, but mainly it's space for the young kids that they have to be able to play. Okay, just going through a few others. Item 15, the applicant shall clarify to the right-of-way line, that's what I just mentioned, and confirm that all existing structures and improvements will continue to comply. Yes, we do. Number 17, no existing easements, utilities, drainage facilities, or other aspects of the properties are being affected by this. We confirm that. The address, there may have been some confusion somewhere, I don't know where, between Hobart Road and Hobart Avenue. We're only dealing with Hobart Road, and if we'll go through all the paperwork and make sure that that's correctly identified. Number 20 says that the plan depicts fencing and baseball netting. Baseball netting is going away, and the fence will be relocated, as I mentioned. The baseball netting is on 34 Dogwood, and it's not in a good spot after the subdivision, so that just goes away. And number 21, the applicant shall confirm that the subdivision does not alter drainage patterns, all of the rest. That's correct. So, with that, that's most of the presentation, but I'll answer any questions.
Any questions? From the planning board? I have a question.
Yes.
So what's the required rear yard setback for 34 Dogwood?
I think it's 45.
And what is it going to be when you put the lot line?
Okay, I have it right here. So it's going to be, currently, to the house, it's 137.93. So.
137 from the new lot line?
No, that's from the old lot line.
okay.
And the new one, for the house, the rear yard setback, which is required to be 45, will be 73.
Okay. And this stone walkway and all of that, isn't that required to be set back too? That's not what you're including, but that's just a couple
Well, the
more feet,
stone
but
walkway
it's
is
still
68 feet. That, too, is compliant.
Yeah, okay, good.
68
And
in the proposed.
Are there any plans to alter, this is a really nice historic building in a historic district in Summit, as you know,
Right.
architect design, not your cookie cutter kind of
Mhm.
house. Are there any plans to alter this building?
34 Dogwood?
Yeah,
No.
because of this lot line change? And I
No,
notice
the-
it's an LLC, it's not just
Right, the plan
Joe
is,
Smith.
the plan is to move the lot line and sell the property at 34 Dogwood, and for the owner of the two lots to just have the 22 Hobart Road property.
And do the improvements you discussed, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, but nothing, we haven't even had discussions about that house, the house at 34 Dogwood, because the intent is to put it on the market and sell that. It was convenient that that house came up for sale at a time when the owner of 22 Dogwood was trying to see if there was a way of getting a little more space for the kids to play in the backyard. It looks like it's endless because it goes out into the Arboretum. So there isn't another house visible, but the actual ownership, instead of negotiating with the owner at the time, the owner of 22 Hobart bought the property, and now we're here.
Okay. Bonnie, do you have anything to say about this historic property?
Oh, I mean, it's, you know, it's gorgeous. And I hate to think what could happen. But I don't know that tonight is, there's anything that can be done that way tonight.
Just
Oh,
wanted-
I just have a comment. My son used to play back there.
Aw.
There's a little place where the Espy's house was, if you remember. They moved. It's a nice place to play. It's a really nice place to play.
The Espy's is a little bit farther over.
It's on the, yeah, but it's over, sort
It's-
of,
it-
Espy's goes on to Hobart Road.
Yeah, on this drawing, in the lower left, this is the garage that's on their property.
Yeah.
The property that you just mentioned.
Yeah.
Where the Espy's were.
So you played all of that.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like it's a little valley where,
There is, yeah, the property dips down. It dips down in the area, sort of the back right of the, is that dipping? Yeah, it dips down in the back right corner of the original, of 22 Hobart. So, like, back in here,
okay.
it dips down. But this is nice because the property extends across here, and this is quite level.
Mhm.
So it forms a nice, this will form a nice play area.
Joe and Marie, do you have any comments?
I'm thrilled that somebody obviously read my memo.
Isn't that nice when they
Yeah,
read your
marked it
memo?
up and highlighted
Look
it.
at that.
I love it when they go through it. That's what Bart used to do, too. You know Bart. Well, I don't have any further questions either. I wanted to hear about why, and you have addressed that.
Yeah, I don't know the ages of the girls, but one of them is less than one. One of them was born during the process we've been talking about.
Okay. Do we have any public questions? No? Nope. Are we good? Do we want to, sorry? Oh, we have to talk to the engineer? I don't even know if we need to talk to the engineer. Does anybody want to talk to the engineer? Mr. Engineer, do you have anything you really need to share that Mr. Rosen hasn't shared?
Covered everything.
Sorry?
Mr. Rosen covered everything.
Left you
That's
with
the
nothing
right
to do.
answer.
No, he was very thorough, so that's good. We appreciate it. Does everybody okay with that? Okay. All right, so do we have a motion? Do we want to discuss first?
You're submitting on the no summation,
We're
council?
done.
I
We're
am.
done. 10:25.
Yep. no.
So we can discuss, but it doesn't look like anybody really wants to say anything.
I mean,
It's a
just,
lot line adjustment and two neighborhood average lot area deviations, as we discussed earlier. The
Yep.
conditions are everything set forth in the various reports. I didn't hear anything else. So that's what's on the
What
table.
did you want to say, Augusta?
Go.
fairly simple. I think we're seeing the benefit of just seeing at least one lot over the minimum threshold for 25,000, even though they're slightly below the average. There's no imminent or immediate impact to
Right.
allowing the lot lines to be adjusted, and it does alleviate one factor, so.
And it leaves plenty of room in the back of the other house if they want to do anything back there
Yeah, the
someday.
rear yard, side yard setbacks are
Yeah.
all well out, so.
Yeah, okay. I agree. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay.
Ms. Bowen?
Yes.
Councilmember Crisafulli?
Yes.
Mr. Dalmasso?
Yes.
Ms. Morrison?
Yes.
Mr. Sala?
Yes.
Mr. Stern?
Yes.
Mr. Golden?
Yes.
Chair Balsan Alvarez?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Leave resolutions and minutes.
Oh,
And executive session.
The other one's not. They're acquiring that junk, keeping that junk so that the smaller lot. That's theirs.
And they're selling.
They're selling
Yeah.
the dog This one got chopped off, so that this guy could have. This one.
Thank you. Good job on the reports.
It makes it so much easier.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Madam Chair, we got a
if we got to conclude some of the items on the agenda.
Yes, yes, sorry, I'm like ready to go. Okay.
Getting ahead of ourselves.
You're right. We have resolutions.
Linden Place, that was a motion for minor subdivision approval and variance relief for 268-270 Ashland Road, some lot area, deficient front yard setbacks. The conditions of approval was unanimous.
I was not there for this meeting. I did watch it, but I'm going to leave it up to those who were to approve this, so.
And I recused.
So who's eligible to vote, Jessica?
Ms. Bowen, Councilmember Crisafulli, Mr. Dalmasso, Mr. Sala, and Mr. Stern.
If someone could give us a motion second and a quick
So
roll
moved.
call.
Second.
Ms. Bowen,
Yes.
Councilmember Crisafulli,
I'm sorry, these are the minutes from last.
No, no,
No, no, no,
Resolution.
The resolution.
Oh, I'm
Linden
sorry.
Place, resolution?
Yeah. Ashland Road, Linden Place.
Oh, yes.
Mr. Dalmasso,
Yes.
Mr. Sala,
Yes.
Mr. Stern.
Yes.
So adopted.
And we took care of 4 Parkview Terrace earlier with Mr. Sheehan. And now we're down to minutes.
We still have the closed session.
Yes.
Sorry?
We still have the closed session too.
We have to adopt
For the minutes?
No, 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 after that.
Okay.
No, I'm saying, do we have the closed session?
We
We do. We have a
yeah,
short. closed
5
session.
minutes or less. No questions, less.
Do you want to do the minutes next time?
No, no.
No. Okay, okay. Let's go. All right. Any changes to the minutes? I can't find my minutes.
We can start with October 27 regular.
Yep, we have 4 because there were 2 closed-out sessions. Okay. So, Mr. Stern, where are your typos
In what?
with the minute?
Are there any?
They were not.
Right.
Miss Jessica did.
You can take a quick look if you haven't had a chance.
So the eligible voting members for October 27th, 2025, for both regular and closed session minutes were Chair Balsan Alvarez, Ms. Bowen, Mr. Dalmasso, and Mr. Stern. Were there any edits?
Nope, I don't have any.
Could we get a motion to approve?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Then next up, we have the regular and closed session meeting minutes from December 15th, 2025. The eligible voting members are Chair Balsan Alvarez, Ms. Bowen, Mr. Dalmasso, Mr. Sala, and Mr. Stern. And I just would like to state that Vice Chair Hamlet reached out, and there is an edit on page 1 of the December 15th, 2025 regular meeting minutes, where it says the second for 268, 270 Ashland, I had written down it was Mayor Fagan. It was actually Mr. Stern.
Move to approve the minutes, unless there are any other edits.
No.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
So you stole it. That's fine. Okay, I think we're done. Are we done?
Well, do we have to go
We
into
have to
closed
go into
session?
Yeah, closed session.
executive
We
session.
could stay here and do a quick motion, and you could announce that
You guys
there'll be
can-
no formal action taken.
Okay.
When we come back in, we'll just be moving to adjourn, so people need not wait. We could just go
Can
into
they
quick
just,
close.
can they turn off the television?
They
Or
can
you can
turn
just
off
do
the
it right
TV.
here. We don't have to
Yeah,
go
that's
anywhere
fine.
else. Okay. Thank you. Have a
Thanks,
safe
guys.
trip home. Appreciate your help.
Make sure you fall into his 5 minutes or less.
That's right. No questions, it'll be 3 minutes.
That's right, that's right. So do I have to do this for closed session? If you don't mind, close the door on your way out.
Do we need a motion? Or second?
Okay.
Yeah. And roll call vote for that.
So, motion to enter into closed session?
Yes, which
For
means the
discussion.
public has to go.
And this is for,
Sorry.
pending litigation, Tatlock Lights update.
Yes, okay, closed session.
And
Thank
we
you.
have a second?
Second?